You are absolutely crazy. It is the middle of the night right now. There is a path to heaven, but you refuse to take it, choosing hell instead. Suddenly, Zhu Minglang grabs Min Kui by the collar and dangles him out in the open air, threatening to drop him unless he cooperates. Help me. Pulled back onto the dragon's back, he wipes his brow in pure terror. Zhu Minglang looks down and demands his answer, prompting Min Kui to quickly promise that he will talk. Looking down at his own hand, he begins to explain. Our hands have two sides, the palm and the back, and space itself exists in the exact same way with a front and a back. Just like a hand, the world we live in is the front side, the very universe we see and touch every single day. It has wind, rain, day and night, the sun, moon, stars, and all living beasts. Talking about his own field of expertise, Min Kui clearly starts radiating pure confidence. But the backside of space is a layer of pure nothingness, where both time and space are completely tangled in absolute chaos. That dark vortex actually harnesses the flows of time and space moving within the void on the backside of space to create a functioning teleportation gateway. Nan Lingsha suddenly cuts him off. There is a dark vortex right ahead of us. Are we going in or not? He smirks and answers with absolute certainty, let us go in. Zhu Minglang gives him a sarcastic look, asking if he was not just crying in fear a second ago. This makes Min Kui tremble, but he insists that if they succeed, he will be the only one in the Tianku territory to ever cross a dark vortex. Seeing this, he smiles to himself. And check this out, he thinks this guy might actually have some use, and with some training, he could make a pretty decent servant. Min Kui looks around and realizes that his companion is an underworld dragon. Nan Lingsha lets out a sigh of relief, noting that they should be pretty safe then. Zhu Minglang crosses his arms proudly, saying that if he did not have full confidence, he would never have dared to enter this dark spring so casually. This makes her curse silently. Just 2 compliments and he is already getting cocky again. Tiansha looks back and grumbles in annoyance, asking how they knew he was an underworld dragon when even he did not know, leaving Zhu Minglang smiling awkwardly. Nan Lingsha adds that the Kirkding continent actually has its own Nightwalkers, much like the infamous Tang dragon that strikes absolute terror into everyone over on the Crimson continent. Terrified, he suggests that they should probably stop wandering around in such a frightening place. Suddenly, Min Kui notices something and points out a spatial current that is about to form a portal. Once we step inside, we can travel thousands of miles in an instant. But suddenly, a massive 9-headed dragon blocks their path, glaring right at them. Staring at it, he starts crying, lamenting how they just crossed over only to run straight into a 9-headed dragon, wondering if this is where they die. Unleashing his overwhelming pressure, Tiansha slowly spreads his wings and roars for them to get lost. The 9-headed dragon hesitates for a brief moment before taking off into the air, leaving the trio completely stunned. Zhu Minglang wonders silently if the beast actually recognized them. The dragon turns his head back and lets out a low growl, as if trying to say something, leaving Nan Lingsha to wonder what it all means. Zhu Minglang turns to explain that the dragon was just asserting dominance, pretending that the 3 of them are merely prey he caught tonight to take home and slowly enjoy. She praises him for being a smart dragon, which instantly inflates his ego. He scoffs that he already knows how smart he is. Meanwhile, Min Kui excitedly points out that crossing this spatial current will lead them straight to another exit of the dark spring. To head back to the normal world, Tiansha charges forward. Underneath the endless starry night sky, Tiansha carries the trio as they break free from the vortex. Min Kui throws his arms up, shouting excitedly that they actually made it. Zhu Minglang looks up at the sky and calculates the time, noticing that the position of the moon has barely shifted at all. It is wild to think that despite traveling so long through that backside space, only a single split second has passed in the real world. Min Kui happily points ahead, shouting for them to look because they are right in front of the great wave of time. Zhu Minglang nods, praising him for a job well done. Excitedly, Zhu Minglang commands Tiansha to move closer so they can truly feel this wave of time. Carrying everyone, Tiansha charges straight through the massive red ring of light. Looking around in curiosity, the dragon wonders if this is indeed the legendary wave of time. Zhu Minglang observes calmly. It looks incredibly powerful, yet it only feels like a gentle breeze blowing right past them. There seems to be nothing special about it at all. But suddenly, a brilliant fire erupts on the dragon's tail, leaving him utterly confused since he did not use his lantern. Wait, this is definitely not the nether lantern. So what on earth is going on? Min Kui starts jumping around in panic, screaming that it is way too hot. Zhu Minglang asks curiously if the dragon's scales and saddle have some sort of heating function. The dragon panics, crying out in utter confusion. This Dragon King is catching fire, so as his tamer, Zhu Minglang needs to look. But instead, Zhu Minglang looks delighted, telling him not to panic because he is about to evolve. Tiansha widens his eyes in shock. He has already reached his ultimate form, so how is it even possible for his cultivation to advance any further? Suddenly, he gets incredibly excited, realizing that this Dragon King is about to ascend to a high-tier Dragon King. Nanlingsha guesses that it might be a blessing from the wave of time itself. This makes Zhu Minglang wonder if living creatures can actually receive blessings, since he thought only plants and vegetation were supposed to benefit. Smiling, she explains that each arrival of the wave of time brings completely different changes to the world. First, it makes all vegetation grow like crazy. Then it breathes life into the soil. And finally, it triggers a massive spiritual energy explosion. This time, it seems that not only nature gets blessed, but dragon beasts, demons, and even humans can receive these incredible gifts as well. Min Kui is completely baffled. Whenever a creature receives a direct blessing, the most obvious result is a massive boost in their cultivation. Zhu Minglang suddenly snaps out of it, realizing that the blessing Tiansha dragon received is also quite massive. Right then, Nanlingsha spots something. She points at the water, urging Zhu Minglang to look at the lake. Glancing over at the water, he is stunned to see a massive Yama Dragon King majestically emerging from the lake. The majestic dragons soar straight up into the endless, deep blue sky. Nanlingsha observes the scene and gasps in shock, explaining that the creature is absorbing the heart of a god. And if she is not mistaken, it is a 90,000-year-old evil dragon. If it fully digests that divine heart, its cultivation will explode to 100,000 years. Mingji screams in sheer terror. Divine grace is coming. This beast is about to receive divine grace, and once it digests that god heart, it will become a god dragon with a divine godhead. We cannot let that happen. Zhu Minglang quickly deploys his battle formation, shouting out that they absolutely cannot let the beast attain a divine godhead. The Ensat dragon, Qingzuo, Moshi, Bai Qi, Elven Firefly Dragon, Nuwa Dragon charge forward with me. Hearing his command, the dragons charge forward together without a single shred of hesitation. Nanlingsha looks below and frowns, warning Zhu Minglang that Huanshan Lake is surrounded by countless monsters, sacred spirits, and nightwalkers. He quickly sits down, carefully observing the battlefield to formulate a solid plan. A decisive battle is their only real option right now. If they delay, you can bet even more monsters will swarm them. Nanlingsha nods in agreement, but just as they prepare to charge, Mingji cries out tearfully from behind, asking what about him and what he is supposed to do. He whines, "Is there anyone who is going to protect me?" Ignoring his pathetic whining, the two of them stand shoulder to shoulder, charging straight into the fierce battle without taking a single step back. Mingji jumps down after them, face planting hard, but Nanlingsha pays him no mind. She declares she will paint a landscape painting to trap all those monsters inside it. She tells him to send his dragons inside the painting to completely wipe them all out. Her painting instantly takes effect, powerfully sucking all the monsters inside. With that out of the way, the three of them move on to the next step. Zhu Minglang barks out an order, telling Qingzuo to lead He Ya, Elven Firefly Dragon, and Nuwa Dragon inside, to sweep away the trapped monsters. The dragons obey, charging forward with overwhelming momentum. Zhu Minglang then steps onto his green dragon sword, flying high into the sky to analyze the battlefield from above. Looking down from high above, he glares at the arrogantly rising dragon and issues a cold threat, telling it to get lost if it wants to live. The Yama Dragon King just laughs in utter contempt, boasting that when it first transformed on this lake, this entire continent was still a barren wasteland. Back in those ancient times, humans were nothing more than simple four-legged beasts that did not possess even a shred of intelligence. Glaring at him as if he were a pathetic little ant, the beast sneers, mocking a wet behind-the-ears brat like him for daring to talk about sparing its life. The beast continues, mocking that his ancestors were likely just a slave tribe who used to worship it like a supreme god. Hearing that, Tiansha Dragon mockingly asks if simply living a long life is actually a big deal. Claiming its royal bloodline traces back to the very origin of life, the Yama Dragon King raises its brow, locking its blood-red eyes onto the tiny dragon that is not even the size of a twig compared to it. Calling him a tiny dragon, it declares itself the sole ruler of this land. It screams out that they only have the right to live when it grants them mercy, roaring at them to go die. Tiansha Dragon groans, admitting the old dragon's power is truly extraordinary. Singai speaks up next, adding that this ancient beast of the abyss is near the end of its lifespan, and if it fails to attain a godhead, it will not survive much longer anyway. He adds that several of its prime dragon traits have actually withered and aged a long time ago. Its actual combat power does not truly reach 90,000 years, making it completely unable to unleash the absolute dominance of its peak realm. Zhu Minglang calls out from a distance, warning Tiansha Dragon not to charge blindly and to wait for backup. He then turns to gently call out to Bai Qi, telling the dragon it is finally time to make a move. The dragon immediately obeys, and seeing Bai Qi soaring over, the Yama Dragon King suddenly pauses and glares over, its eyes widening as it locks its gaze onto the majestic white dragon soaring straight toward it. Bai Qi rapidly accelerates, unleashing the power of Fuyue Yingchen. Witnessing this, Singai gasps in complete shock, muttering the name Fuyue. Ying Chen, yes, that is it. That kid is actually a legendary combination of the Fuyu dragon and the Ying Chen dragon. Both lineages possess a divine godhead, meaning this little white beast is a true Fuyue Ying Chen white dragon. Zhu Minglang thoughtfully rubs his chin, pondering if it really is that legendary dragon. Xing'ai looks over and asks if he still remembers the quick trick he once taught him to identify various dragon bloodlines. Zhu Minglang answers that if you are not sure how high a dragon bloodline is, you should just look at its formal title. The longer the formal title is, the higher their bloodline usually is. The elder agrees, explaining that those long names represent the utmost respect ancestors showed toward legendary dragons. Any dragon blessed with a 6-character title is bound to be absolutely invincible. Tiansha dragon grumbles in annoyance, asking the old man if he is implying that he is weak. The elder quickly reassures him that a short title does not automatically mean weakness. Looking back at Xing'ai, the dragon huffs with a slightly appeased tone, muttering that the old man is at least sensible. Tiansha dragon turns his attention back to the Yama dragon, confidently declaring that it is time for this ancient beast to taste the true power of a real dragon king. With those words, it unleashes an incredibly powerful wave of flame, screaming at them to go die. Yama Dragon King is no pushover, roaring back as he releases a blood-red aura to resist. Grotesque and hideous creatures suddenly begin to emerge right behind his back. He flies high to declare that a summer insect could never comprehend the cold of winter, while the dragons below mockingly join in. How could a human with a mere 100-year lifespan deserve to vie for divine grace? Yama Dragon King spreads his massive wings, unleashing those ugly, moving, bright green, noodle-like tendrils. Then, he arches his body against the blue sky, giving those green threads plenty of room to surge forward. Finally, swift as lightning, he swoops down to gather momentum, launching those green threads straight toward his enemy. Before his eyes, the ant-like Tiansha is quickly bound tight from all directions. Tiansha struggles, cursing the old dragon to release this grand dragon king. Seeing him in such a tight spot, the beautiful Bai Qi carefully edges closer to help. But before she can even get close, a furious Tiansha uses all his strength to shatter the old dragon's green threads to pieces. Zhu Minglang shouts from below, "Watch closely, because real teamwork is about to save the day." Tiansha snaps back in disgust, telling the ignorant human to never call this Grand Dragon King by that stupid name. His only name is Tiansha, but just as he is distracted chatting with the boy, a massive dragon jaw suddenly snaps open right beside him. Sneering, he calls the opponent a smelly old dragon for trying to sneak attack him. He mocks his lack of honor while Zhu Minglang shouts from below to stay focused and be careful. Tiansha thoroughly detests the old dragon. Seeing this, Bai Qi quickly fires sharp ice spikes to help him create some distance. Hit by the sudden attack, Yama Dragon King cannot dodge in time and bleeds, driving him absolutely insane with rage. Raising his head, a terrifying crimson light shoots from his eyes to cover the entire sky as he screams for all juniors to die. He glares down in absolute contempt, cursing them. Realizing things look bad, Zhu Minglang quickly screams out for Dongthan. Flying away on his Linlong sword, the sea of blood below him is packed with the stark white bones of dead creatures. Looking down, Xing'ai sighs that even the longest-lived evil dragon of Thong Uyen gets only tens of thousands of years. This ancient monster has stolen the life force of countless innocent, tiny creatures to keep himself alive. He speaks out in deep anger, calling it an absolute sin since a dragon normally would never harm such weak, powerless beings. Zhu Minglang glares at the ancient beast with eyes full of pure disgust and absolute contempt. He asks if he has lost the courage to hunt, resorting to tormenting weak little animals just to survive, calling him utterly shameless. Hearing this, Yama Dragon King snaps, whipping his tail to hurl a massive pile of white bones directly at the boy while roaring, "A mere brat like you has absolutely no right to judge me." Zhu Minglang deftly maneuvers his sword to dodge every single bone, mocking the vile dragon by asking how such a parasite could ever become a god. The old dragon immediately fires his deadly breath. A disgusting wave of green energy erupts from his mouth like built-up filth. Cringing, Zhu Minglang quickly analyzes his options, cursing under his breath. The sly beast trapped him on purpose. With no time to dodge, Zhu Minglang pulls a mysterious orb from his chest, muttering that it is all up to it now. Its hidden power explodes. Instantly, a massive, impenetrable wave of purple water rises behind the tide of the Vu tribe. Acting as a solid shield, it completely blocks the oncoming torrent of green acid. To the old dragon's absolute shock, the powerful purple wave continues to surge forward, targeting him directly. But he quickly recovers his composure, staring down at Zhu Minglang with pitch-black eyes full of utter disdain. Relying on borrowed power is nothing to fear, he scoffs. But watch this, a strange light suddenly cuts through the water. Moving at the speed of light, this energy pierces right through the water to strike Yama Dragon King, making him shriek in terror. What is that? It is Tiansha, roaring as he charges straight ahead. Hurting badly, Yama Dragon King struggles to gasp for air, but Bai Qi gives him zero breathing room, hitting him with a devastating barrage of freezing ice. Watching from below, Zhu Minglang cannot help but smile with deep satisfaction, highly praising their seamless teamwork. Not bad at all. This is how a real team is supposed to fight, he thinks, proudly admiring the frozen dragon. The dragon is frozen solid. But suddenly, the ice shatters to pieces as he roars, unleashing blood-red streaks from his body that make Zhu Minglang frown in concern. Damn it, the old monster is still alive, and those red streaks are actually a swarm of deadly thorny vines. Throwing his head back, his massive mouth unleashes beams of red light, triggering his poison rain skill. Seeing this, Zhu Minglang screams for them to dodge the poison rain immediately, but Bai Qi is already ensnared by the red energy. Trapped, he mutters, his pupils shrinking back in shock. Is this old geezer trying to use this poison rainforest to split us up and take us down one by one? Zhu Minglang growls at being completely underestimated, unleashing his flying sword to strike. Don't be scared, Bai Qi, I'm coming. Get out of my way, you damn blood-poison vines. The Yama dragon snaps Bai Qi into its jaws, telling him to get ready to be eaten. Bai Qi just scowls at the foul breath, telling him to get lost. Out of nowhere, sharp ice spheres manifest, piercing straight through the Yama dragon's mouth as blood sprays everywhere. It roars in agonizing pain, letting Bai Qi break free. Seizing the moment, Zhu Minglang charges in, sword blazing red. His ultimate sword strike slashes like the wind, plunging deep into the Yama dragon as blood fountains out uncontrollably. Glaring furiously down at Zhu Minglang's tiny human frame, the beast roars, cursing him as a despicable coward. Suddenly, the ground beneath the Yama dragon stains deep crimson, transforming into a sea of blood as razor-sharp spikes erupt from below. Go to hell, the beast bellows. But hovering above, Tiansha roars in pure rage, demanding who dares hurt his master. Tiansha's tail wraps around Zhu Minglang, flinging him straight onto his scaly back. Get on, the mighty dragon commands. Zhu Minglang winces from the impact. But from afar, Lingsha is riding in midair, her aura flaring as she yells a warning. Zhu Minglang, get your dragons back. Hearing her call, Tiansha and Bai Qi don't hesitate, immediately spinning around to retreat. Wait, watch this. Suddenly, the Yama dragon looks up, its massive eyes filled with sudden, overwhelming shock. Meteors rain down like a cataclysmic storm. It is her starfall technique, triggering a massive, incredibly destructive, earth-shattering blast. Pinned to the dirt, the Yama dragon curses them as miserable ants, forcing its jaws open for one final, desperate strike. Anyone contesting this godhead will die, the beast roars. Zhu Minglang just raises 2 fingers, calmly whispering his grave sword chant. Plunging from the heavens, a colossal sword impales the Yama dragon. It screams in agony, claiming to be completely immortal. The Yama dragon's massive frame and terrified eyes shake violently as another chilling chant echoes through the air. Activating the gloomy moon lantern, Bai Qi and Tiansha soar side by side as the beast watches in absolute terror, feeling its power being forcefully drained from its massive body. The gloomy moon lantern unleashes a giant pillar of green light, completely swallowing the Yama dragon's colossal frame. Staring in complete helplessness, the beast still desperately mumbles to comfort itself, whispering that it is totally immortal. But before it can finish that final word, its entire body disintegrates into mist. Standing near the remains, Zhu Minglang watches red wisps of energy gather from the corpse. This swirling energy converges, forming a dazzling pillar of pure light. Staring at the prize, he chuckles deviously. Who could have guessed the souls swallowed by that evil dragon would refine into a soul pearl? A 96,000-year grand soul pearl, almost hitting 100,000. Lingsha walks up to Zhu Minglang, calmly letting him know that the fight on this side is finally finished. The beast with a little golden rabbit riding its head cheers, yelling how satisfying that was. It has been way too long since they had such a good fight. Below, Lingsha and the Nuwa dragon watch as Zhu Minglang suddenly looks up. You see that, right? A blinding crimson fragment floats in the air, prompting Lingsha to look at Zhu Minglang in pure confusion. It is a godhead, yet it floats straight toward the Nuwa dragon. She simply waves her hand, stating she has no use for it, and to give it to Tiansha. The glowing godhead drifts straight toward Tiansha, whose eyes widen in utter shock as the divine spark sinks deep into his chest, slowly merging with his very being. Once he fully swallows the godhead, Tiansha's entire body gets enveloped in a blazing, crimson cocoon of light. Throwing his head back, he roars as the divine power fuses. Deep within his chest, Tiansha's pounding heart is suddenly surrounded by shards of the shattered godhead. Tiansha snaps his eyes open in absolute terror, crying out that his heart is about to shatter and asking if he is totally doomed. Miraculously, those glowing shards bond with his heart, fusing into one single, powerful organ. Zhu Minglang is just as stunned by this heart reconstruction, while Xing'ai stares wide-eyed, muttering that the Tiansha dragon has actually obtained a dragon god's heart. Turning to him, Zhu Minglang eagerly asks if the Tiansha dragon is becoming a dragon god now. Xing Ai just frowns deeply. Not quite, he replies. There is still a massive gap, but its heart alone has officially reached the dragon god standard. Looking up, Zhu Minglang asks if they can assume its dragon heart has successfully condensed to the divine realm. Stroking his beard, the elder nods, explaining that to attain godhood, they must have a godhead, but their own physical traits must also meet strict standards. Checking his body, Tiansha sighs in relief that he is completely fine. Meanwhile, Xing Ai explains that a dragon king possesses 12 traits, including the dragon tooth, dragon claw, dragon scale, dragon feather, and dragon heart. Gesturing directly at Tiansha, the old master continues. Normally, to attain godhood, a dragon needs the godhead, and must refine at least 3 of these traits to the divine level. Zhu Minglang's eyes light up. So you mean the Tiansha dragon has already hit one of those 3 divine physical requirements? If we can gather more resources for the Tian Satlong and boost its power level, does that mean it will finally stand at the threshold of becoming a true dragon god? Who wouldn't have eyes shining like stars right now? Exactly. It's true. Standing nearby, Min Kuai watches the whole scene as goosebumps cover his skin. He never imagined this guy could actually slay an ancient dragon that was just about to ascend into a divine dragon. Wait, can you even imagine how powerful he's about to become? Only a true god can stop him now that he's got the divine dragon heart. Zhu Minglang turns around and tells him, alright, it's time to head back. Min Kuai blinks in surprise. Okay, Zhu Minglang, Nan Lingsha. Min Kuai hitches a ride back on Tian Saturday. Under the night sky, the beast looks incredibly majestic, bathed in the crescent moonlight. Staring down, he can't help but gasp in shock. Is that the Li Shuyan River? It looks more than 10 times wider. Nan Lingsha agrees they've only been gone for half a night, yet all of Li Shuyan has transformed. The crescent moon hangs high, surrounded by brilliant stars. Back in ancestral Dragon City, Nan Lingsha speaks up. I'm exhausted, heading back. Zhu Minglang and Min Kuai wave her off, get some rest. Min Kuai lets out a strained laugh. Well, I should head to bed too. But Zhu Minglang instantly grabs his collar and drags him back. I'll send you back to jail to rest, Zhu Minglang says. Min Kuai practically screeches, you can't do this. Do you think I'm just garbage? Throwing me away after using me? Meanwhile, with the crescent moon glowing above, Zhu Minglang slips quietly back into his own courtyard. Niam is leaning back against Haknya, staring up at the sky. Zhu Minglang walks over and asks, why are you still awake? She lowers her head, looking grim. She's overheard rumors of divine kingdoms and holy armies. Those divine clans are coming to slaughter us like animals. But his face remains completely calm and unfazed. What is a little girl like you worrying about that for? Niam turns to him with deep concern. Aren't those armies commanded by actual gods? Are the gods really that unstoppable? Patting her head gently to comfort her, he says, don't sweat it. Just focus on keeping everyone's food supply stocked up. With a warm smile, Zhu Minglang reassures her, don't worry, your sisters and I are here. Ancestral Dragon City will only grow more prosperous, and you'll get to enjoy your favorite lantern festival every single year. Hearing this, Niam beams happily. Hands on his hips, he adds, all right, after tonight, Li Suyen is going to change big time. Keep a close eye on the Great Spirit Farmer's spiritual plants. We might find some real treasures. And she nods with absolute confidence. Leave it to me, she says. As long as the sky doesn't fall, I'll definitely snag some amazing things. With that, Niam reaches into her pocket. Oh, a few days ago, I actually bought a really neat item from an old mountain farmer. She pulls out a glowing green stone to show him. His eyes widen in absolute surprise. That's a moon-glazed stone. Niam gazes at the glowing gem and starts explaining the details. That old farmer charged a fortune. I had to grit my teeth to buy it. I have a small box of these at home, but the ones little Bai eats seem a bit whiter, so I hope I didn't get the wrong kind. He beams with excitement. It's no mistake, this is definitely the glazed stone. From now on, whenever you spot this jade, just buy it all without hesitation. Thrilled, she rushes over to hand him the moon-glazed stone. In that case, leave next month's dragon food entirely to me. He reaches out, takes the stone. I have some sacred spirit soul pearls here. Take them to the market to sell and add the cash to our public funds. Niam's face lights up with a bright, squinty-eyed smile. Got it, she replies. The next day, a massive crowd is gathered right outside the city gates. Trong Quan stares down, deeply confused by the sight. Just like that, the peace shatters. Are they really attacking Ancestral Dragon City already? Why do these rogue factions seem to be working together like a single organization? Standing beside him, Zhu Minglang rubs his chin in deep thought as a green-haired youth looks up at the banner. Ancestral Dragon City has raised the banner of our Xuanga Divine Kingdom. Could they actually be trying to challenge the raw authority of our nation? Mirong's face is filled with obvious worry. It seems the rumors about this blessed city-state have already spread far and wide. Another person asks, what should we do? Trongquan turns around and firmly replies, we have the divine banner right in our hands. If those mere mortals refuse to back down peacefully, then we will just have to teach them a brutal lesson. Let them witness the massive gap between gods and commoners. Looking over at him, she says, "Brother Trong Quan, we are counting on you this time. Under your strong leadership, I'm sure our Swange Divine Kingdom will demonstrate its absolute dominance." Trong Quan laughs heartily. "Don't worry, brother-in-law. Just leave this whole situation entirely to me." Suddenly, he roars down at the crowd. "Listen up. I am me Trong Quan, a descendant of the gods of Swange Divine Kingdom. This city is now an official territory of our nation." Trong Quan glares defiantly at the massive crowd before him. "If you dare to trespass, you are actively choosing to wage war against us. And as a divine descendant, me Trong Quan will show absolutely no mercy." Suddenly, Pang Kai arrives to report to Zhu Minglang. "Young master, we just spotted a group acting extremely suspicious, and they seem to carry a sacred relic. Should we capture them?" Hearing this, Zhu Minglang makes a quick decision to head over and take a look. Under the clear blue sky, 4 cultists are busy performing some kind of ritual. Zhu Minglang hides behind a wooden pillar, waiting, peeking out to plan his next move. Naturally, things are never that simple, and a blonde cultist speaks up with a sly look on his face. He sneers that these lower world scum are completely useless, as their scroll is fully open and yet nobody has even noticed. Their fate is already sealed. They are destined to crawl at their feet. The blue-haired guy next to him is just as sinister. He boasts that they crossed a lava river to get here days ago, and those fools trying to rule Tulong City State will never see them coming. But one of them raises a doubt. Is that guy named Thuong actually trustworthy? They are risking their lives for this, and if he backs out once the city-state is captured, they get nothing. That would make them look like complete idiots, but the leader just lets out a sly, mocking laugh. He tells them to rest easy, because even though Thuong Han Hook is completely ruthless, he has never once broken a promise. Watching from the shadows, Zhu Minglang and Bang Kai whisper to each other that Thuong Han Hook must be the mastermind uniting all these rogue factions. And here is where it gets good. Zhu Minglang suddenly steps out behind the blonde cultist and calls him out. He casually asks if they are standing in a circle praying for the gods to bless their beautiful Tulong City State. One of the cultists immediately starts lying, claiming they are only praying for blessings because of all the recent natural disasters. Zhu Minglang stops. He points right to the scroll in the man's hand. He asks what the scroll is for, making the panicked cultist quickly hide it behind his back and claim it is just a simple decoration. The guy stammers that it is just a local custom, but Zhu Minglang presses him, demanding to know exactly where they are from. As the man stammers speechlessly, the blonde cultist steps in to lie, claiming they are from Vuhuang Mountain, home to the Vulong dragons, while his partner nods like a robot. No way. Zhu Minglang has no intention of letting them off. He points out that Vuhuang Mountain is ruled by the Tuok Lang deity, prompting the cultist to fake a joyful expression. The cultist asks if he is also a Tianku citizen, but Zhu Minglang suddenly orders his soldiers to surround and arrest them all. The guy holding the scroll trips hard. He drops it and begs to be let go. Zhu Minglang walks over to pick up the scroll, offering them one single chance to tell the truth. With a terrifying, demonic expression, he warns them that only the first person to explain the scroll will survive, while the rest will die. Too much. 2 cultists break down crying and confess it is the Fong Tai Hoi Quyen. They scream that once this scroll is opened, a devastating tornado will sweep through and launch 100,000 soldiers straight into the sky, which only makes Zhu Minglang smile. One of them whimpers, asking if they can be let go now, but Zhu Minglang simply ignores him and orders Bang Kai to lock the entire group in the dungeon. Bang Kai salutes in agreement. Meanwhile, on a cliff overlooking Tulong City State, a mysterious group clad in black robes stares down at the unsuspecting city below. Their leader laughs. It is too easy. With an army this big, taking Tulong City will be child's play. But Han Hook cautiously warns him not to underestimate them, as Tulong City is protected by the Huyan Ca nation and their divine oracle flag. Suddenly, a chilling voice mocks them. Is a simple divine oracle flag really enough to scare you? Han Hook is visibly shaken upon seeing this newcomer, who is wrapped in a thick black cloak and floating in midair while radiating a brilliant golden light before his army. He immediately bows down in deep respect, paying respects to his grandfather. The elder tells him to skip the formalities, and Han Hook quietly asks if he has come to supervise their battle. Han Hook promises to conquer Tulong City within 7 days, but the mysterious elder remains completely unimpressed. He growls that 7 days is far too slow, offering to help them seize the city immediately to use as a base for conquering the entire realm. With those words, the mysterious man turns and flies straight toward Tulong City State, leaving everyone utterly speechless. Just watch this. Back in Tulong City State, the sky itself suddenly starts to warp and darken. Citizens on the street look up in confusion, wondering why the sky has suddenly gone dark, as others scream in absolute terror. High above them, a massive hand suddenly materializes, completely blocking out the sun. It is targeting the entire Tulong City State. The hand is so massive it literally blocks out the sky. With a spell spanning 100 miles, the giant hand unleashes an endless storm of sand, quickly burying the bustling streets below. Citizens get trapped in the rising sea of sand, screaming out in utter desperation. Truong looks up in absolute shock, wondering what kind of god could possess this power, while Li Yunzi sighs, knowing the inevitable has finally arrived. From the sky, a mysterious figure booms down a chilling warning. Listen up. Those below. In 3 days, this entire city will be utterly destroyed. His dark silhouette slowly fades away, but not before leaving behind one terrifying threat: surrender right now, or every single one of you will be buried alive. Below the city walls, Zhu Minglang stares up. His voice hesitates. What on earth is then? He flashes out from his mansion, leaping across dusty streets as he charges straight toward his target. 1 month later, Zhu Minglang arrives at the crowded city walls. Looking up at the sky, a swirling streak of bright light is clearly visible to everyone. Zhu Minglang glares upward and curses the bastard. Beside him, Mert Dung quickly warns him that the mysterious enemy might actually be a powerful demigod. Standing nearby, Truong clenches his fists, his voice trembling as he groans that everything is completely over. They actually recruited a demigod-level powerhouse. There is no way we can defend this city anymore. Zhu Minglang frowns. Filled with pure determination, we still have a chance if we can take him down within 3 days. Hearing this insane plan, Truong looks at him in utter disbelief. Stop joking. That monster can wipe us all out alone. But Zhu Minglang just replies, nothing is impossible. Mert Dung suddenly realizes something. Maybe there is something he fears. Or perhaps casting that massive quicksand spell to swallow the city completely drained his spiritual energy. Zhu Minglang agrees. If my guess is correct, if he really had the strength to wipe out everyone here, he wouldn't hesitate for even a single second. Li Yunzi rests her chin in deep thought. He isn't following the destiny predicted by the star map, so something unexpected must have happened to him. Zhu Minglang suggests that to uncover the enemy's true situation, they must capture those guys first. Li Yunzi then shares her plan. She will have the commander draft up an immediate escape route. If after 3 days we still can't save the city, well, our only choice is to hand it over. Talk about a brutal reality. Zhu Minglang nods in agreement. Yeah, that is our only option for now. Meanwhile, outside the city walls, at the Kang clan camp, a mysterious man in black warns that he has already done his part, leaving the rest to them while warning not to disappoint him. Han Hook quickly supports the weakened man, asking if he is all right. He wearily replies that he is fine, promising to return in 7 days to pull this city-state out of the deadly quicksand. He orders Han Hook to gather more men and clear out all the useless trash before their corpses start to rot away. Hearing this, Han Hook is both thrilled and terrified, quickly promising that he will absolutely never let his master's great expectations down. Burying a city of 1 million people with just one single move is truly a magnificent divine art. Han Hook then waves his hand, barking out orders. Everyone hold the line if you see anyone trying to run. Execute them right on the spot. Inside the meeting hall of the Zulong city-state, all the top leaders are gathered together. One of them steps forward to report that their scouts have finished surveying the area. This massive wave of quicksand has swallowed an area spanning 100 miles, heavily affecting even the famous Dragon Taming Academy in Lixuan. The general adds that while the quicksand doesn't pose much threat to powerful cultivators, ordinary citizens will sink up to their knees if they stand still for a second, making escape impossible without outside help. Right then, a scout rushes in with an urgent report. The enemy forces have formed a massive serpent-like line, and although some citizens are attempting to climb over the walls to flee, the scout adds in sheer panic that every single escapee was brutally slaughtered. Thung Thon slams the table in absolute rage. If those beasts just want to occupy our city, why hunt down desperate refugees like this? Are they really just treating us like animals? It is honestly sickening to watch. Mert Dung chimes in. Those dogs from the Tuok Lang Temple have never had any morals. Nearby, a worried elder frowns as he voices his concerns. I used to think a nation blessed by gods would be noble and civilized, but they are just savage barbarians who slaughter innocent citizens. Zhu Minglang explains to the room that the supreme deity of the Tiank divine realm is Hoaku, a god infamous for utter brutality and destruction. He worships raw power, so with him ruling the Tiank divine realm, it's only natural that his followers are infected with this violent urge to conquer and enslave. Li Yunzi speaks up, suggesting that they must deal with their most immediate crisis first. If we are forced to evacuate Zulong City, we have to eliminate those enemy swordsmen blocking our path first, otherwise we won't even have a way out. Nan Lingsha reacts fiercely, clenching her fists as she shouts that they should just charge out and slaughter every single one of them. Zhu Minglang remains practical. Cutting her off: their numbers are way too high, and by the time we finish them, the city will already be buried. His tone drops as he lays out a strategic plan. Those enemy forces are merely unorganized stragglers acting on their own. Without the backing of the Tuok Lang Temple, they wouldn't even survive a single night out here. Our best bet is to seize this frozen territory and destroy the Tuok Lang Temple, stripping those stragglers of their protection. Li Yunzi suddenly stands up in full agreement. Exactly. To catch the bandits, you must capture their leader first. We should dispatch a small strike team to distract the magical beasts. Then, we strike while Tu Tuong has minimal guards around him. We have to move incredibly fast. Granny Han Song continues, saying that last night, one of our experts named Tin Long Tun broke through to the Peak Realm. She explains he can easily hold off the powerhouse from the Tuk Lang Temple. Thuong Than adds that he will also discuss things with the vice principal of the High Academy. He wants to ask for his assistance, because after all, this battle affects the honor of everyone here. Elder Can Lam cups his hands together and tells Zhu Minglang that the white-haired great protector of the Jiao Sun sword sect is currently hiding in the shadows. He was sent directly by Zhu Minglang's Tai Gong, and he will follow his commands when the critical moment comes. Zhu Minglang calculates his options: Tin Long Tun, the High Academy's vice principal, the white-haired protector, and Bang Kai. He stands up, clenching his fists with a confident smile. With 4 peak-level experts on their side, even if the Turk Lang Temple has their ultimate powerhouse on guard, they finally have enough raw strength to fight back. Zhu Minglang then asks Granny Han Song. He wants to know if the healing holy leaf he sent is working on the Emperor. She replies that his wounds are clearly recovering, and he should be back to normal in a few days. He smiles with relief. That is fantastic news. Once the Emperor recovers, taking down the Turk Lang god before he fully restores his divinity is actually quite possible. Li Yunzi chimes in, saying she will lead the army to block those scattered enemy forces, while Zhu Minglang takes the top masters to ambush the Tuk Lang Temple. He immediately agrees. Alright, let's head out right now. Now look at this, the battlefield outside is absolute chaos. Smoke rises everywhere as blades clash and cries fill the air, with Zhu Minglang watching it all from the high fortress wall. Right then, Meng Ru flies over on her sword, calling out to him as Master Zhu. She says the situation in the Dragon City state is pretty bad, but she has explained everything to her senior sister. With a smile, she adds that her sister understands the bigger picture, so their Miaoshan sword sect is ready to help him out. Zhu Minglang sighs deeply. He says he will have someone release her senior sister, leaving the choice of what to do next completely up to her. Meng Ru nods with satisfaction. She agrees, noting that Master Zhu sees things quite clearly. Those outsiders from the so-called upper realm do not even view them as their own kind. Since they share the same blood, fighting back to the bitter end is their only path to survival. She believes the top factions that chose to surrender are likely regretting it now. Zhu Minglang closes his eyes, stating he never expected anything from them anyway, as long as they do not cause trouble. Meanwhile, on the outer perimeter, Han Su and his men are standing guard, making sure absolutely nobody slips through their lines. Frowning, Han Shu shouts out a threat, asking if they have all come out here just to die. He sneers, asking if they really think a desperate struggle can defeat them. He orders his men to slaughter all these foolish lower realm trash. And here is where it gets good. Han Shu freezes as a voice demands to know who he is calling trash. Standing right there are Zhu Minglang's dragons, led by Bai Qi. All the dragons look incredibly majestic and powerful. Han Shu gasps, asking if that is the white dragon venerable, Zhu Minglang. Our main character steps forward calmly, asking if Han Shu recognizes him. He mentions hearing that their Tuk Lang god is about to be stripped of his divine status. Soon, the Whispering Rain deity of the north will take over his spot as the 33rd primary god in the sky. Zhu Minglang summons his Mo Xie sword to strike downward, yelling out. He declares that their Tuk Lang temple will not even survive the coming darkness. Han Shu roars back, calling it nonsense, claiming his noble Tuk Lang god's rumors are just lies spread by lowly peasants. Right after, he stands atop his own dragon, unleashing a blinding ring of golden light. He screams, asking how Zhu Minglang dares to claim that the one who just cast the quicksand divine technique was not the Tuk Lang god. Standing on Bai Qi's head, Zhu Minglang looks down and mocks him, asking if a true god would really stoop this low. He smiles, adding that with Lichuan being so incredibly tiny, what worth does it have to make the Tuk Lang god personally invade? Are the temple people just completely useless? Or does the Tuk Lang god now rely on mortal disputes to gain petty benefits for himself? Zhu Minglang's sharp words cause Han Shu to frown deeply. Panic sets in. Damn it, if he admits that was the Turk Lang god, they will become the laughingstock of the entire Tianyu divine realm. He quickly raises his hands to form hand seals and execute a skill. Golden energy surges forward, forming the desolate cloud dragon armor, a brilliant, shining protective layer that completely wraps around his dragon. Han Shu warns him with absolute confidence, telling Zhu Minglang not to stick his nose where it does not belong. He declares their Tuk Lang god is determined to seize Lichuan, asking if Zhu Minglang really wants to protect these filthy, lowly mortals and play their savior. His dragon roars with terrifying force as energy charges up inside it. Then, a deep, raspy voice echoes out, calling it absolutely ridiculous. A fierce burst of golden lightning erupts from the dragon, but Bai Qi reacts instantly, raising a massive wall of thick ice to block the impact. Suddenly, a fast figure rushes past Han Shu. It is one of the high-ranking fighters, flying in with a savage look on his face while yelling out, "Let me handle this punk, because I will definitely not allow him to stay this arrogant." Seeing this, Bai Qi gently flaps its wings, tosses him away with its tail, and continues to unleash a powerful light strike directly at Shang Ya. The impact shakes the very ground, pinning his body flat against the earth. Then, Bai Qi unleashes its white dragon flame, spitting a searing, glowing purple sphere right from its massive jaws. A blood-curdling scream echoes out as Shang Ya takes the full force of the attack, his entire body engulfed in purple flames. Han Hook is visibly disgusted by the sight and barks out, "What a total embarrassment. Get to the back." Sitting atop Bai Qi, Zhu Minglang looks down with a calm smile and says he is quite curious. Since Kuei Longshen actually showed up to interfere in this fight, why didn't he just wipe us all out with a single strike? Wouldn't that make conquering everything much easier for your temple? From down below, Han Hook screams back, "I am the next divine chosen. This is simply a divine trial for me." Hearing this, Zhu Minglang replies indifferently, so that really was Kuei Longshen back then. Turns out all that divine magic he spent so much effort casting could only affect a single city-state after all. Compared to Hoa Ku, who shattered the ley lines of the Sheng Kui continent with a single stomp, his power is lagging way behind. Han Hook's eyes turn bloodshot as his pupils widen, thinking, "Damn it, this bastard is trying to extract information from me. He definitely has another goal, so I cannot waste any more words on him." Shaking off the thought, his dragon beast gathers a sphere of crackling lightning in its raised maw, while Shang Ya screams out, "Cut the chatter and die." The dragon beast roars, unleashing massive bolts of lightning that shake the earth and sky. Bai Qi uses its highly agile body to easily dodge the incoming lightning. At that moment, Zhu Minglang looks back toward Shang Ya. "Wait, look at this." He is actually summoning 3 massive, flaming red dragons infused with lightning charging straight toward them. Han Hook gestures to the 3 rhinoceros dragon beasts beside him and orders them, "You 3, unleash your ultimate move." With glowing red eyes, the 3 beasts lock their shining horns together, which are covered in mysterious glowing runes. The clashing horns create a massive sonic wave, sending countless shockwaves rippling out and heavily distorting the surrounding space. Tons of nearby soldiers desperately cover their ears and flee in pure panic from the deafening, horrific sound. Standing nearby, Bankai quickly channels his spiritual energy to form a barrier against the shockwaves. Grimacing with worry, this power is absolutely terrifying. Our entire team has lost their defensive power. I fear this might be some kind of divine tool. It is being powered by those 3 furious horned beasts. Meanwhile, Zhu Minglang leaps down right behind Bankai. He stands tall and grins, "Bankai, protect me while I cast. It is time to teach these guys a lesson." Zhu Minglang pulls out a scroll tied with a red cord and unravels it. As the scroll unfurls, a pillar of red light shoots into the heavens as he starts chanting. Han Hook grits his teeth in pure panic, thinking, "Damn it, is that not the Wind Disaster Scroll? How did it end up in that bastard's hands?" He screams to his subordinates, "Stop him now. Do not let him summon Feng Bo to aid them." Zhu Minglang frowns and yells, "Hold them back. Just hold on a little longer to summon the Wind Disaster." The Tiansha dragon manifests with a roar, unleashing an intense pressure that blows the lackeys away, while Bankai summons a blazing red dragon of his own to clash with the beast ahead. His eyes glow with rage as sparks of fire flicker across his body. Shang Ya also screams in fury, "Get out of my way, you bastard!" Look at that, the sky turns pitch black, leaving a strange, white void that makes everyone look up in dread. From deep within the dark clouds, a massive dragon maw emerges, followed by a thunderous sound as a gigantic dragon head reveals itself. The dragon beast roars with its jaws wide open, creating a massive tornado that sweeps away countless soldiers below. Holding the Trunhai Chao, Zhu Minglang smiles and says, "This Wind Disaster Scroll is indeed impressive. How about we spice things up a bit?" With a sharp shake of the pearl, spiritual energy explodes out, forming swirling currents of dark purple mist. The strange purple waters of the Vudok Triotique surge upward, tearing a massive rift right through the sky. With a deafening boom, everyone looks up as the sky cracks open. The purple tide wraps around the massive tornado, causing the entire area to shake violently. Staring at this scene, Bang Kai is totally speechless, thinking, "I never expected Lord Truck to possess such terrifying power," destroying the massive beast formation of the temple in a single breath. The Vudok Triotique crashes down, washing away the lackeys and Shang Ya's dragon beast as he struggles in the torrent. Frowning, he wonders, "Damn it, which god's power did this guy borrow? He is incredibly strong, and a direct clash might not end in a victory for us." Shang Ya quickly retreats, leaping onto the back of a rhinoceros beast, and angrily orders them to fall back, shouting, "Let us see how they drag this city-state out of the quicksand." Zhu Minglang frowns and says coldly, "We must capture him. We cannot let him wear us down." He then glares at the mysterious cloaked figures standing before them. Bang Kai quickly agrees, saying, "But we need a solid strategy to handle their high guardians. Otherwise, they will keep us pinned down and we will never catch Thung Han Hook. Right then, everyone gasps as a woman glides in on a flying sword. It is Wen Lingfei leading her female disciples, and someone yells in shock. Sect leader Own. Zhu Minglang also gets up quickly, as the Mạc Tà sword flies over. Glaring at him, she coldly states that Mu Sun Kiem Tong serves all living souls, so she did not come for the Tolong citizens. Zhu Minglang, I will definitely settle the score with you later for keeping this princess locked up. Ling Fei stares him down, declaring that before she claims this city for herself, she will absolutely not let anyone else steal it away. No matter how many of those corrupt Tianku forces show up, I will slash them all down. Hearing this, Zhu Minglang wonders if Mu San Kim Tong has always hidden such insanely powerful sword masters, and which one of the 33 gods in the Tianku domain is actually backing them from the shadows. Landing right opposite her, he speaks up if that is the case. Please hold off their top fighters while sect leader Own and I go capture that Thung Han Hook. Ling Fei quickly agrees, telling him not to worry. Watching her cold attitude, Zhu Minglang scowls, thinking that women are truly the most unreasonable creatures. And just like that, the two fly off to chase down Han Hook. He looks back and spots them, grabbing his glowing beads. Gritting his teeth, he sneers that they are nowhere near strong enough to capture him. He hurls the fiery beads at blazing speed, screaming for them to die. Seeing this, Ling Fei swings her sword to slash the incoming projectiles out of the air. Blocking the bead right in front of her face, a flash of pure shock hits her eyes. Shockwaves explode around her. What on earth are those prayer beads anyway? She anxiously wonders. Zhu Minglang frowns as he closely watches this, noting that those prayer beads can definitely shift into several different forms. Defensive shields, beast armor, there is probably a totally different offensive mode too. Thung Han Hook just has not used it yet, but the transformation process definitely takes some time. Steadying herself back on her flying sword, she replies that they must constantly switch up their attacks and move faster than the beads can shift. He agrees, telling her to use her lightning sword on the wild dragon to their left and try to force those beads onto its body. Instantly, Ling Fei channels her spiritual energy, unleashing blue lightning toward the beads as she charges straight at a rhino-like dragon beast. Furious, Thungap casts a spell and sneers at how laughable it is that they think they can touch his wild dragon. Zhu Minglang glares in contempt. Seeing the prayer beads shielding that raging horned dragon, he immediately directs her to switch targets and slash the wild dragon that is furthest away. Hearing this, Ling Fei changes course just as the wild dragon gets wrapped in a bright golden light. Seeing her veer off, he shouts for his beads to go stop her. The glowing bead quickly flies toward the very wild dragon that Ling Fei is targeting. And here is the trap with the beads busy. Zhu Minglang strikes at Thung Han Hook. Honestly, the guy never saw this coming. Han Hook turns back in sheer terror as spiritual arrows lock onto his position. Yet, with zero fear, he smirks and pulls out 2 more prayer beads. Oh no, Zhu Minglang grits his teeth as the beads form a shield. Desperate to break through, he roars for Bai Qi to unleash its rage. Hearing him, it charges. The wild dragon panics as it sees Bai Qi coming. Strange glowing patterns appear on its horn, unleashing tiny sparks of fire. With a massive headbutt, a giant spectral horn materializes to counter the attack. Watching anxiously from the sidelines, Zhu Minglang calls out. Overcome with rage, he fiercely orders the Tiansha Long to tear them to pieces. The air pressure warps into a violent purple vortex, smashing straight into the hide of the wild dragon and shattering it into tiny pieces. Witnessing this power, the wild dragon breaks into a cold sweat, its eyes wide with terror. Emerging from midair, the Tiansha Long roars that this Dragon King already knows exactly what to do. The wild dragon below stands frozen, trembling from head to toe as it whimpers helplessly. Tiansha sinks its fangs deep, slamming the beast backward onto the ground and kicking up a huge cloud of dust. Crimson blood splatters through the air as Tiansha frowns, wondering what this strange substance is and whether he can actually control it. His body resonates with this raw energy as his golden eyes ignite, unleashing the crimson scale armor. A thunderous roar echoes through the air, vibrating with so much raw power that the entire space trembles. Zhu Minglang smirks, his eyes showing a mix of surprise and genuine respect. So they actually used the essence blood of these angry horned beasts to refine blood soul beads. But wait, who could have guessed? Once the fiendish Calamity Dragon obtained the Dragon God Heart, his blood-soaked ability has finally evolved to the point where he can absorb bloodline power. Han Hu coughs weakly, spitting out blood, his pale face twisted in pure, freezing hatred. Damn it, they actually killed my dragon beast. How can I not avenge this? Zhu Minglang stands calmly on a sword hovering in midair, his arrogant voice echoing. Your Tuek Lang Temple does not seem to have any real skill at all. Take away your gods, and your Tuek Lang Temple might not even beat the Kuk Din continent. He sneers mockingly. Is this all it takes for you to call yourselves heavens? Han Huk takes a deep breath, wiping his bloodied mouth. Roaring out, our temple is rising. Your Swange faction hoards all the lands, so of course you can raise more powerhouses than us. As for a god-favored one like you, who already has divine grace, coming here to fight us mortals for scraps, is that not hilarious? Zhu Minglang waves his hand and casually asks, who on earth ever told you that I belong to Shuanga Divine Kingdom? Han Huk pauses, his eyes wide with utter confusion. If you are not from Shuanga, then who are you? Zhu Minglang speaks slowly. Did you guys not carve out a gray zone on the map of Kukdin, just to warn everyone to stay away? You let your jealousy blind you? Or did you seriously forget? Han Huk turns pale, as blood vessels burst in his eyes. Are you from the Huachu faction? Zhu Minglang crosses his arms, mocking him. See that? Even he gets terrified. Zhu Minglang's eyes turn razor-sharp, shining with absolute icy authority. To think that the secret faction serving Huachu has already successfully infiltrated the forces of Kukdin. Zhu Minglang turns and commands Tiansha, order a dark quicksand attack on Han Huk, and let him taste the horror of being buried alive. The beast laughs wickedly, saying that this Dragon King absolutely loves torturing others. From right beneath his feet, a sticky sludge rises, trapping him tight. Han Huk struggles in absolute panic, his voice shaking. What is this? Let me go, you bastard. Zhu Minglang remains unfazed as powerful energy radiates from his body, dominating the space. What is Tuek Lang God hunting for on this Kukdin continent? Stuttering in terror, the captive struggles to resist. Don't even dream of it. Zhu Minglang smirks. I already know more than you do, especially about Tuek Lang God. For instance, years ago, he tore open a void vortex inside an evil temple. Descending onto Kukdin, your Tuek Lang God got his arm sliced clean off by a local swordsman. He completely lost his divine status, and those wounds could never heal. Zhu Minglang calmly watches Han Huk, sinking further into the spiritual current. Right now, he is like a stray dog desperately digging for bones abandoned by other gods on this continent. Zhu Minglang gently strokes his chin, eyes full of mockery. What is wrong? You did not know all of this, did you? It seems Tuek Lang God did not trust you at all, never revealing his actual, pitiful state to you. Han Huk gasps. How do you know all this? Zhu Minglang casually turns around, waving his hand like brushing off dust. How I found out is none of your business. Just tell me exactly what Tuek Lang God ordered you to do, and I might spare your life. Han Huk's face turns pale, his eyes hollow to take Li Shuyan, then wipe out the 9 clans of Nge Hai to seize their land. Zhu Minglang's eyes narrow as he quickly calculates, could the object he is searching for actually be hidden in Nge Hai? What else? Suddenly, Zhu Minglang flinches. Behind him, the captive is violently tearing at his own flesh. His bloodshot eyes roll back in absolute terror, forcing Zhu Minglang to yell out Tiansha. Do not kill him yet. Wait, watch this. The Dragon King swears he didn't touch him as Han Huk's body warps horribly. If it wasn't Tiansha, is this some special curse? Zhu Minglang sighs, his voice freezing cold. You sold your soul to Tuek Lang God, only to end up getting cursed and killed by that very god. How pathetic. 2 cloaked figures freeze, their bodies trembling as they cry out in panic. This is bad. Han Huk is dead. Their gaze pierces through the void, watching Han Huk's soul get crushed while Zhu Minglang smiles back like an absolute nightmare. Fall back. Right then, a booming voice roars like thunder. Kill them. Do not let them escape. A massive wave of brown spiritual energy swirls violently around the fortress like a rising flood. The fortress walls shudder as cracks spiderweb across the stone, showering debris. Mat Dung warns grimly, this is bad. Night is falling. Even though these nocturnal beasts know a god-favored hero is guarding this fortress, something out there on the pitch-black plains does not fear him one bit. Zhu Minglang coldly cuts in with a sharp tone. We can only slaughter them all. Both of them spin around as Nan Lingsha speaks up calmly. I can actually restore this fortress wall, but I need a little time. Zhu Minglang immediately asks how long, and her eyes turn resolute. It won't take too long. He nods, trusting her completely fine. I will take my men and do everything possible to hold off those nocturnal stalkers. Right then, the ground violently trembles. A thick, blood-red river bursts through the earth, staining the entire space crimson. Zhu Minglang frowns, his gaze turning serious. What on earth is this? Out of that bloody water, a dark red carriage slowly emerges, casting a chilling, eerie vibe over the city walls. She suddenly pales, breaking into a cold sweat as her voice starts trembling. He freezes, his face pale with horror. It is the Night Lady. A freezing wind howls, blowing open the red carriage curtain. From inside, a seductive yet terrifyingly murderous voice echoes out. She says, Young master, it is late. If I return home late, my father will surely think I am out meeting some wild man. Sweat completely drenches Zhu Minglang's back, bringing an overwhelming wave of horror. This is bad. Her pressure is at least on the same level as the Yama dragon. Surrounded by dark clouds of evil energy, her voice echoes, filled with deep, aching sorrow. My father did not hesitate to throw me into a well to drown, all to protect the family's honor. So I cannot be late, no matter what. Please let me pass, young master, so this weak girl can get home quickly. Mat Dung whispers in a worried tone, warning him. Zhu Minglang, you cannot expose her, or she will instantly go mad and slaughter everyone. He forces a reply, his face twisted in fear. He says it is already night, and I am guarding this post to stop intruders. Which family do you belong to, miss? I must verify your identity before letting you go. Meanwhile, evil energy from the carriage thickens, suffocating the air. She answers, I am the second miss of the Lu mansion, named Lu Qinghuan. Please clear the path, young master. If I delay any longer, my father might discover that I snuck out. Even if I just snuck out, my father will not easily forgive me. Mat Dung's eyes sink. Some spirits sleep for a very long time, and when they wake up, they do not realize they are dead. Instead, they just endlessly repeat what they used to do while alive. For this kind of spirit, it is best not to let her realize she is actually dead, and we also cannot anger her. Zhu Minglang frowns, calming his expression. In this case, he can only try to play along and coax her. He forces a bright smile and speaks warmly. Miss, why are you returning so late? We are required to register everything clearly. Curfew is very strict lately. As long as you explain the situation, I definitely will not trouble you. I can even escort you home, so you will not face any more checks from my colleagues. From inside the carriage, a hand with blood-red claws reaches out, and fiery red eyes flash with a ghastly, eerie smile. She says, I went out of the city to visit my elderly grandmother and lost track of time. That is why I am rushing back. Young master, I cannot be late, or my father will throw me into the well. That well water is so cold, I cannot breathe. Mat Dung immediately whispers, her face turning pale with anxiety. This is bad. She drowned in that well. Quick, talk about something else before she remembers her own death. Zhu Minglang immediately changes the subject, forcing a shaky smile to his face. He says, I just heard from my colleague that your father is drinking at the tavern. It looks like he won't be home anytime soon. Zhu Minglang acts quickly, clearing his throat and asking casually, so there is no need to be nervous. Your father probably has no idea you are late yet. A voice from the carriage asks, really? Is my father still out drinking? He quickly confirms yes, so you do not have to worry right now. But I must confirm you are the second miss of the Lu family. How can you prove it? Without hesitation, she reaches her clawed hand out. Trembling as she speaks, I have nothing. I left in a rush, but I am Lu Qinghuan. Come inside the carriage and see. Zhu Minglang's eyes widen, and he frantically waves his hands. No, that is not necessary. But she snarls, completely enraged. If you do not come inside, how will you know? Are you doing this on purpose? Why did everyone else get to enter? I told you, I must get home early. His face turns completely pale. You would be panicking too. She is losing it. Does she think I am targeting her? He must find a way to stall. No, miss, you misunderstand. Zhu Minglang stammers, his face pale with dread as his voice trembles. I just remembered that the tavern closes around this hour, and your father is likely heading back right now. Surely you do not want to run into him on the streets, right? Her clawed hand, dripping with dark energy, freezes midair. She snaps, why didn't you say so earlier? Are you telling the truth? He grits his teeth, nodding firmly. It is absolutely true. Inside, Zhu Minglang is practically crying, pleading silently, Lady of the Vu family. If you do not finish fixing the wall soon, this ghost will tear me to pieces. Right then, a blurry figure appears behind the dark red curtain. The ghost speaks in a sweet, seductive voice, it seems. I have completely misjudged you, young master. You were actually looking out for me. Fortunately, my palanquin bearers travel extremely fast, so my father will not catch us. His gaze freezes in dead silence. This carriage doesn't seem to have any bearers at all. Where are they? Zhu Minglang looks down. Under the carriage, a pale, lifeless hand slowly creeps out, as a female ghost's voice echoes with a sharp, teasing tone. Move faster, she commands. Zhu Minglang freezes in panic. Cold sweat pours down his neck. He finally gets it. She actually wasn't drowned by her father. Not even close. She rushed out simply fearing his scolding. Consequently, the carrier accidentally slipped under the carriage, getting crushed to death, and she seems pretty indifferent about it. Zhu Minglang's expression turns pretty serious. He desperately scrambles to change the subject before she remembers her cause of death. Just then, a spark of spiritual light flashes. Vorsa suddenly appears, telling him in a deep voice to fall back. Zhu Minglang turns around with a sigh of relief. Thank goodness, Nan Lingsha came through. With no time to lose, Zhu Minglang rushes forward. He urges the girl inside. Miss, I am letting you go. Please leave quickly. But get this, that gentle voice suddenly turns bone-chilling, transforming from a sorrowful weep into pure, venomous malice. She shrieks in rage. You lied to me. I can never go back. Instantly, the slender figure twists into a hideous monster with disheveled hair and a warped face, screeching, I cannot be late. I must kill you all. A long, crooked hand with blood-red claws coated in dark energy lunges forward. Zhu Minglang leaps over the city wall, Zhu Minglang tries to stay calm, but that hand suddenly clamps down on his shoulder, violently yanking him back. Agony. Cold sweat pours as he thrashes. He groans in pain. It hurts so much. My very soul is being ripped away. Panic flashes in his eyes. Even after being burned to this state, her grudge is so deep she won't let go. He must find a way to break free. In utter desperation, Zhu Minglang grips his hilt as his eyes flare with spiritual energy, yelling, "Let go of me." His sword swings out, cold light slicing the night as a piercing shriek tears through the air. He rejoices as Nuwa Dragon finally arrives. He commands Nuwa Dragon, "Help me capture her." She immediately charges forward like a beam of light, graceful, yet incredibly powerful. Desperate pleas echo. "Please, no." The ghostly face behind the curtains panics. This is bad. Run. The ominous red sedan chair screeches and vanishes into the dark waters. Zhu Minglang sighs. She really was quite a handful. Looking down, his eyes fall on the deep red ghost mark burned into his skin. He asks, "Can you help me remove this ghostly claw print?" Nuwa Dragon immediately bows and channels her spiritual power. The energy flows like warm water, forcing the corrupting threads to shrink and slip right off his shoulder. She gently extracts a small object. She tells him Nuwa Dragon will wrap this up safely in a pouch for you. Zhu Minglang chuckles sheepishly. He says, "Actually, you'd better keep it. I don't want to hold on to something so terrifying." Suddenly, Vorsa grabs his arm, calling out his name in a sweet, clingy voice. Her eyes shimmer as her cheeks turn a pretty, shy pink. She asks, "Are you hurt? I was worried sick about you." But a cold voice suddenly cuts her off. "Step aside." Li Yunzi appears from behind, slender yet radiating immense authority, her eyes locked onto them. Vorsa pouts, "Isn't this my big sister? Where did this big sister even come from?" "Well, I am just the little one, so I guess it is not my turn to pamper Zhu Minglang yet." Li Yunzi simply smiles, reminding her that she is indeed her youngest sister. Failing to get her way, Vorsa huffs in disappointment. Why isn't she jealous at all? And right here, watch how his face turns completely pale as his body suddenly freezes up. He shivers, hugging himself and wondering why it is suddenly so freezing. Li Yunzi quickly identifies the culprit as the ghost frost energy from Dar Nung Nung. She demands immediate treatment for Zhu Minglang. Even in a tense situation like this, Vorsa still manages to act playful. She teases sister. This ghostly chill usually hides deep in the skin. To cure it, you need direct physical contact with brother-in-law. She pretends to be embarrassed, but Li Yunzi deadpans. "No, you idiot. I was talking about the rabbit." Hearing its name, Tiantho pops its head up. It yells, "Foolish human, this legendary fairy dragon has come to save you." It excitedly commands him to sit still while it transfers its power. Landing right on his head, Tiantho begins casting its magic. Slowly but surely, the ghost poison inside Zhu Minglang starts draining away. But soon, even Tiantho squeaks out, "I cannot take it, it is way too cold." Li Yunzi steps in with her magic, but within 5 minutes, her face turns pale too. Seeing that her sister is about to collapse, Vorsa finally decides to step forward. Just as Li Yunzi collapses, Vorsa catches her, lecturing her sister for always showing off instead of taking care of herself. Zhu Minglang finally lets out a sigh of relief. He weakly tells Li Yunzi, "I feel much better now. Thank you for your hard work, dear wife." Hearing this, Tiantho hops up in outrage. "Hey, you idiot, what about me? I worked incredibly hard too, you know." Wincing, Zhu Minglang assures it, "All right, I know. Still, Li Yunzi has to admit that Dar Nung Nung is absolutely terrifying. Thank goodness you dealt with her so cleverly. Plus, Vorsa managed to temporarily patch up the city wall, or the consequences would have been catastrophic." He cuts straight to the chase, by the way. "Lady Vorsa, do you really control the mysterious wall array of this city?" This fills Vorsa with immense pride as she boasts, "Well, only Li Yunzi and I have the power to protect this land." Zhu Minglang quickly suggests if that is the case, things do not seem quite so bad. "We should be safe for tonight, so let us rest early and find a way to deal with Lu Sha tomorrow." It is already midnight, and Hu Feng agrees. Not knowing what is wrong, Zhu Minglang comes to call them. But as Nan Yunxi reaches the door, she sees her fast asleep on the table. He is instantly confused. Why would she sleep here of all places? Gazing at the girl's face for a moment, Zhu Minglang's cheeks begin to blush. Driven by some sudden urge, he slowly leans closer and closer to her face. Right at that moment, those familiar golden eyes slowly open. Zhu Minglang startles completely, quickly apologizing, "Sorry, I accidentally woke you up." Just waking up, Li Xinghua immediately asks about the situation, "Young master. A lot of things happened outside, right?" Zhu Minglang seriously confirms it. He cannot help but feel extremely embarrassed. "They switched places so quickly. Did I accidentally kiss the wrong sister earlier?" Zhu Minglang coughs to clear the awkwardness. "Lady Xinghua, you are absolutely right. The Kuilang god has appeared, and everyone connected to him is bringing us endless trouble." But Li Xinghua actually believes otherwise, "Young master. The Kuilang god appearing is not a bad thing, on the contrary. It actually gives us a massive opportunity. Naturally, he wonders why she would say that, but she does not answer him immediately, promising to explain the exact reasons to him later on. We must visit Shangya tonight. He holds the clues to the Kuelang god's true destiny. Zhu Minglang agrees, nodding in approval. Soon, Zhu Minglang and Li Xinghua arrive at the dark prison. Standing right in front of Shangya's cell, he finally speaks up. Zhu Minglang asks Shangya a few questions, but the prisoner flatly declares, "I will say nothing. Do not think I am a coward who fears death. Do whatever you want with me." But Li Xinghua calmly steps in to remind him of something. "The enemy who destroyed your clan, whom you searched so hard for. Now that you have the answer, do you want to throw your life away?" Hearing this, Shangya gasps, "How do you know about my past?" Without hesitation, Li Xinghua reveals that when the terrifying void mist finally dispersed, countless dreamscapes flooded into my head, showing me a specific memory. Not only that, she knows every single detail of what happened. You hid right under the deity's statue, surrounded by tens of thousands of your slaughtered people's bones. Li Xinghua continues. A terrifying demon in a black cloak left, after taking everyone's lives. Shangya furiously confirms, "Yes, I was just a young child back then, hiding right under the stone statue of the Kuelang god. I barely managed to survive. But my family and entire clan were slaughtered, and I swore to find that killer so he would never find peace." His blind devotion actually makes Li Xinghua shake her head. "Your clan had plenty of incredibly powerful warriors, yet only you survived by hiding under that exact statue." Meaning, when the killer unleashed his devastating power, he deliberately avoided hitting the deity's statue. Shangya stubbornly argues the killer was definitely afraid of the Kuelang god. "My god saved my life, and I swear to follow him even down into hell. No matter what torture you use to force a confession, I will never betray my god." Seeing his absolute stubbornness, Li Xinghua is forced to drop a truth bomb. "Did you ever think the killer avoided the statue because it was actually a carving of himself?" Watch his brain completely break here. Shangya screams in shock, refusing to believe it. He stammers, demanding proof because it is simply impossible, while Zhu Minglang silently praises her brilliant play. "My little aunt's move is incredibly high, just 2 sentences, and she completely crushed this guy's lifelong faith. He probably never dreamed that the very god he worshipped is the brutal killer he has been searching for all this time." Li Xinghua solemnly explains that the Kuelang god's power stems from ancestral blood, meaning he needs massive amounts of it whenever he gets injured. Because of this, anyone with a blood relation to him, like your people, basically becomes his personal, walking blood bank. She breaks it down further. The descendants and followers of the Kuelang god went from prosperity to ruin because their god is nothing but a literal vampire. Whenever he craves a massive surge of power, he simply treats your entire clan as a mere source of food. His mind is clearly shaken, but Shangya desperately clings to his denial. "You talk so much, yet you have no real proof." "I do not believe it." But Li Xinghua calmly states a simple fact: "I am a prophetess. My visions never come with physical evidence, but you have served the Kuelang god for years. What does your own gut tell you? Deep down, you already know the truth, you just refuse to accept it." At this point, Shangya completely breaks down, unable to speak. In fact, Li Xinghua reveals that if he was not locked up in this cell, 6 days from now, he would witness this killer slaughtering everyone once again. He is going to completely wipe out the very temple forces currently invading Lichuan. This is the point where his spirit breaks. This horrifying truth makes Shangya's entire body tremble uncontrollably as his world crumbles. He stammers that his god did indeed tell Kang Hengsu that he would return here in 6 days. Zhu Minglang also points out that when the Kuelang god first descended on Jiting and clashed at Lingdao Mountain, he used a brutal, life-draining technique that could completely wither all living things. If you don't believe me, I can show you the traces left behind. Tinhua generously gives Thurngap a choice, reminding him that the young master changed his fate so he can trust him, which Thurngap silently accepts. But he keeps his guard up anyway. He says he does not entirely trust their words, but he will tell them whatever they want to know, doing this only to prove his own god is innocent. Before he speaks, Zhu Minglang warns him that he might carry a deadly dual god-slaying curse. He warns him to be careful. At this point, Thurngap won't decline. Admitting he holds no weight with his god and lacks the right to bind a contract, they can ask away. Tinhua starts the interrogation, asking Thurngap exactly when the previous deity fell, and he willingly spills everything. He recalls his father mentioning that on a moonless night, a massive horde of night terrors attacked, causing devastating losses. Their god likely perished on that fateful day, though the exact date remains blurry, prompting Tinhua to realize what actually happened. Understood. Thank you, young master. She strongly suspects that Kuelang Shen invading the Kirkding continent is directly tied to the fall of the previous deity, believing that pinpointing the exact timeline will reveal what went down, making Zhu Minglang quite hopeful. He asks if Tinhua can deduce this through her special stargazing art, and she gently smiles, saying she can certainly give it a shot. They head out of the prison with their clues. But here is where things take a heavy turn as Tinhua sighs deeply. Confused, he asks what is wrong. And she tiredly admits the heavy cloud cover tonight completely blocks her view of the stars. It makes tracing the timeline impossible since her stargazing practice is still quite new. Making a mistake is too easy here, but Zhu Minglang quickly offers a solid alternative, wondering if a professional stargazer could do better. He suggests seeking help from Mert Dung, which instantly lifts Tinhua's heavy spirits, making her wonder why she did not think of using her sister's incredible precision sooner. The gloomy night sky somehow begins to shimmer with brilliant starlight. Leaving the Imperial Palace, Zhu Minglang and the others head straight to Mert Dung's private quarters. Tinhua asks her younger sister Mert Dung if she can use those specific timelines to calculate exactly how many glorious meteors actually streaked across Kirkding back then, and pinpoint the exact locations where they scattered and landed. Mert Dung accepts the task, confidently noting it is not difficult at all. She has been tracking the constellations over Kirkding for days, meaning she can easily deduce the answer even without looking at the sky tonight. Tinhua warmly thanks her, but Zhu Minglang suddenly feels lost, asking what on earth they are even discussing. He points out that even the royal astronomers might not be able to figure this out. Tinhua explains that a glorious meteor represents a fallen deity, and she is trying to calculate the exact resting place of the previous Kuelang Shen. Mert Dung closes her eyes, concentrating deeply on her calculations. Moments later, she happily announces she got the results, revealing that exactly 2 starfalls crashed down near a massive inland sea located in northwestern Kirkding. Realizing the connection, Zhu Minglang and Tinhua speak in unison, "Nge hai," as he finally puts the pieces together, realizing the previous Kuelang Shen's corpse fell right into that sea. Back then, Thung Han Hook met his end under that very same divine curse. He specifically mentioned Nge hai right before dying, prompting Tinhua to explain that Kuelang Shen's godlike power actually originates from the primordial blood. Perhaps he caught wind of this secret through some private channel. He risked everything to invade the Kirkding continent, just to steal the deity's primordial blood, as Mert Dung notes with growing worry. She explains that the previous Kuelang Shen had a massive divine status, but his actual strength was quite average among the previous top 100 celestial masters. Rumors suggested his power was fading, but acquiring that godlike blood would have allowed him to completely undergo a divine transformation. Zhu Minglang wants to make absolutely sure. If Kuelang Shen finds and absorbs the exact object formed by that primordial blood, he can easily solidify his godhood and ascend to even greater heights. Mert Dung nods in agreement, confirming he would stop at nothing to hunt down that incredible power. Now here is the big puzzle for us. All the clues are clear, but what on earth did that divine blood actually turn into? And where is it hidden? Mert Dung shrugs with regret, admitting she has no idea, and suggesting he ask Tinhua instead. Zhu Minglang immediately turns his gaze toward Tinhua, who looks back with a slight trace of hesitation. She mentions one specific glorious meteor that he seems to have already picked up, making Zhu Minglang wonder if she is talking about the ocean calming bell. Racking his brain, he cannot recall retrieving anything else from Ngehai besides that strange little bell. Then it hits him, the little dragon girl, realizing this must be what they are talking about. He asks if that glorious meteor could actually be her, and they both nod, as Tinhua prepares to dig deeper for clues. Can you explain the exact situation back then? Zhu Minglang does not hesitate to share every single detail. He recalls that when signing the spiritual pact with the female song dragon, he saw visions from long ago, sharing those fragmented memories. Back then, the Nuwa dragon traveled to Nihai just as a cataclysm shook the heavens and earth, causing endless tsunamis and severely fracturing the seabed ley lines. As a direct result, every single living creature in Nihai faced absolute and sudden extinction. Zhu Minglang continues the story, explaining how the Nuwa dragon used her own body to hold up the collapsing ley lines of Nihai. She fell afterward, but her remaining will and soul gathered together to form a divine fetus, being reborn as the song dragon we see today. He points out a shocking detail: the disaster in Nihai was triggered by the fallen corpse of the previous sparrow wolf god. And here's the kicker: that fallen song dragon was actually the second brilliant shooting star in the constellations. All of this is connected to you, she says. Zhu Minglang is indeed the chosen one, as divine blessings naturally gravitate toward him. Hearing this, Zhu Minglang suddenly remembers. Oh right, he says I wanted to ask you something earlier. Lady Xinghua, what did the source blood of the previous sparrow wolf god turn into, and where is it now? Can we use divination to find any clues? Xinghua tells him it is still completely impossible. She explains they must visit someone to find out, leaving him curious. Who is it? He asks, as Xinghua reveals their identity. Elder Jinglin possesses the clues regarding the destiny of the source blood. Zhu Minglang is genuinely shocked. Who knew that old guy actually had this info? Up above, the pale moonlight still shines bright in the high sky. Following Yunxi's advice, the group goes to Jinglin's place to find more clues. Resting comfortably, the elder speaks up the moment they arrive. Why is the young master visiting this old man at midnight? Zhu Minglang cuts straight to the point. Elder Jinglin, your hometown is Qin City. Do you know anything about the events at Nihai? He immediately denies it. This old man grew up in Qin City and only later joined the Zhu sect. Asking me is completely useless, young master. Zhu Minglang pushes further, asking if any blood essences ever appeared in Nihai, like those rare dust pearl, coral, or amber blood types. Jinglin replies that none of those existed, but a highly unique kind of blood essence did fall into Nihai back then. Back then, I was just a minor deacon in a small inner courtyard in Qin City. Losing patience, Zhu Minglang tells him to get to the point, prompting Jinglin to finally reveal the truth. Truth be told, young master, that Nihai blood jade was actually taken by our Zhu sect. Zhu Minglang is completely shocked, gasping what? The three of them remain in Jinglin's sand-filled room. Seeing Zhu Minglang's extreme reaction, the elder abruptly stands up too. Is it possible that the young master knows nothing about the #1 sword forged by our Zhu sect? The Jade Blood Sword? He finds it stranger the more he hears, admitting he has never heard of it, as Jinglin explains. Back then, after acquiring the Nihai blood jade, the sect master gathered the most perfect raw materials under heaven. Spending 10 whole years to forge the Jade Blood Sword, this became our sect's ultimate treasure, securing the Zhu sect's position among the 6 great clans. He ponders before speaking. Fair enough. Zhu Tianguan rarely talks about these things with me. This Nihai blood jade was formed from the previous Sparrow Wolf God's source blood, so once forged into a sword, it was bound to become a grand treasure. But secretly, Zhu Minglang is already plotting to take this artifact for his own sword. You've got to love his greed here. He's already plotting for his sword spirit to devour it to get a crimson blood divine sword. Besides, keeping it in the Zhu sect is way too risky, obviously. Leaving it in my hands is much safer. Xinghua steps closer and whispers, young master, it seems this Sparrow Wolf God really is your destined enemy. Even if you do not run into him near Wu Earth, he is bound to cross your path because of this Jade Blood Sword. Zhu Minglang agrees, fearing that when the time comes, it will bring absolute disaster upon the Zhu sect. No more delays, we must return to the Zhu sect immediately. But Elder Jinglin grabs his sleeve, anxiously holding him back. Young master, you had better stay away this time, he warns. What if the ancestral Dragon City state falls into someone else's hands? Leaning in close, Elder Jinglin says, with a dead serious expression, as for that legendary sword, the sect master will definitely guard it, and even in the worst case scenario, he will have an escape plan. Zhu Minglang instantly senses something highly suspicious. Did Zhu Tianguan say something to you? Spit out the truth. Instead of answering directly, the elder merely hints at it. Young master, the sect master sees things much more clearly than we do. If he refused to let you stay in the imperial capital, or the Zhu sect, it was surely out of deep concern. Zhu Minglang falls silent, his face darkening with worry as he realizes the threat facing the Zhu sect is far worse than he imagined. The next second, Zhu Minglang snaps out of it and turns to leave. Forget it, I am too lazy to even ask. Stepping out of the room with Nan Xinghua and Mi Rong, Zhu Minglang shares his plan. I am going to Zhu Gate and the imperial capital to scope things out. Let Li Yusha handle the ancestral Dragon City state for now while you two join me. Mi Rong puts on her hat and softly replies yes. Zhu Minglang turns pale, clutching his head as the terrifying face of the Night Empress Ye Ma flashes. But the Night Empress is still waiting right outside the city gates. If we just walk out, she will tear us to shreds. Our only option might be to let the Nuwa dragon use that severed hand to lure her away. Suddenly, Nan Xinghua points ahead to comfort Zhu Minglang, saying there is no need for all that trouble. Take a look, young master. She turns to look at him, her words directing his attention to a swirling blue vortex up in the sky. A few underworld springs have actually formed inside the city-state, creating space-time rifts that happen to lead straight toward the imperial capital. These springs should last for a few days, giving us plenty of time to return. Feeling a huge weight lifted, Zhu Minglang eagerly agrees. Get ready, because next morning our trio finally reaches their destination, the inner city of Zhu Gate. Zhu Minglang tells the other two, you guys head to the side hall to rest first while I go find Zhu Tianguan. Nan Xinghua quickly bids him farewell. Yes, young master. He then walks alone into a deep estate, where someone is already waiting. Zhu Minglang casually walks over and asks, is my old man in there? Qin Yang bows in absolute surprise upon seeing him. Yes, young master. But aren't you supposed to be over at the ancestral Dragon City state? Not wanting to waste any time, Zhu Minglang pushes past him. I have urgent business with him. But once inside, Zhu Tianguan fails to recognize him. He calls out to his dad, but the old man just spits in disbelief. What kind of ghost are you, transforming into my son to trick me? Losing his patience, he yells back, stop playing around. I came for serious business. Did you forge the Jade Blood Sword? Whack. The old man gets a quick smack, leaving a huge bump on his head. Exactly. Though the world thinks your grandfather made it, I forged it myself. It is actually the third masterpiece I am most proud of. The second is the Yinchuan sword in your mother's hands. Zhu Minglang cuts him off immediately. Stop. I am really not interested in your glory days. I came to warn you. If this Jade Blood Sword falls into the hands of the Sparrow Wolf God, he might fully restore his godhood. Absolute ruin. That would plague the entire Zhu clan. Hearing this, Zhu Tianguan's hand freezes for a second. Suddenly, he throws his arm around his son's shoulder with a grin. Why act tough with your dad? Just say you want the Jade Blood Sword. It is not like I would say no anyway. Later, they head deep into a weapon display hall. Looking around impatiently, Zhu Minglang wonders how the legendary Jade Blood Sword could be left lying around so casually. Here is where it gets good. Zhu Tianguan completely ignores him, activating a mechanism that reveals a hidden staircase right under their feet. Walking down casually, he boasts your old man obviously would not leave such a valuable treasure sitting around on the ground. As it turns out, there are several more levels hidden deep underground. So Zhu Minglang instantly decides to praise his father's brilliant setup. Staring in awe at the finished swords lining the walls, he cannot believe how many there are. He secretly realizes that just one floor of these weapons could easily fund a top-tier army. Reaching the bottom, Zhu Tianguan speaks up again. Our ancestors actually discovered many extraordinary divine objects, but they simply had no idea how to unleash their hidden power. Only when your grandfather discovered the ancient runes and I mastered the imprinting technique did our forging skills truly skyrocket. Curious, Zhu Minglang asks runic imprinting, is that exactly how you forged the Jade Blood Sword too? He nods, fondly recalling his own father's younger days. Yes, I used the legendary heavenly fire to forge the knee-high blood jade, unleashing the divine blood runes sealed within. Zhu Tianguan suddenly channels his energy, a heavy purple mist enveloping him. Unfortunately, shortly after the sword was finished, news of its existence leaked out to the world. Your grandfather lost his life in the chaotic struggle that followed. Stopping before a heavy door, Zhu Tianguan turns go down to the final level alone. Your prize is waiting. Nodding, he has no choice but to head down alone. The moment Zhu Minglang touches the final stone door, it suddenly swings open, revealing a glowing smelting furnace inside the chamber. He stares in absolute awe at a glowing blue sword suspended right above a roaring fire. This is indeed the legendary Jade Blood Sword. As he stands frozen in shock, the chamber suddenly transforms into a starry galaxy, and the blade slowly floats directly toward him. Zhu Minglang summons his dragon pet and commands Mo Shi charge. In an instant, the two blades clash with immense force, one radiating searing heat, the other freezing cold. Opposing forces clash violently. Sparks fly as metal slams against metal, creating a relentless storm of deafening crashes. Jade Blood Sword summons a deadly barrage of clones raining straight down. Mạc Tà counters with a blazing red vortex of sword chi, leaving Zhu Minglang completely frozen in pure shock. Right in front of him, a figure takes shape from pure sword energy. Zhu Minglang gasps. The sword spirit is real. Clutching his head, he can only wonder, so the Blood Jade Sword actually had a sword spirit inside. Dad is seriously irresponsible for keeping something this huge, a complete secret from me. Zhu Minglang crosses his arms and barks out an order. Mo Xie, call him Big Brother right now. Mentally, he estimates this spirit's power has easily crossed 50,000 years. Mo Xie might have transformed into a dragon, but forcing a direct clash right now will only end badly. It's much smarter to play nice first. Mo Xie roars. No way, I will never back down. With that, the beast unleashes a massive wave of energy, charging straight at the Blood Jade Sword. The sword spirit instantly raises a hand, unleashing a torrent of deadly sword aura. A storm of icy sword shards rains down, heading straight for the massive blood mountain created by Mo Xie. A brilliant streak of blue light, packed with crackling lightning, slams hard into Mo Xie. Zhu Minglang quickly steps in to control the flow, warning Mo Xie, stay calm and follow my mind. Mentally, he knows. This guy is also a sword spirit, and he probably wants to devour Mo Xie. But there's no way I'm letting that happen. Zhu Minglang shuts his eyes tight, realizing Mo Xie is no match for the Blood Jade spirit alone. He needs to help his partner unleash his true strength through perfect mind unity. Suddenly, a wave of dark blood-red soul energy shoots out. It merges instantly with Mo Xie. He guides the dragon Mo Xie. That spirit has massive raw power, but zero understanding of sword techniques. Now that we've merged, we can actually use that to our advantage. Zhu Minglang forms a quick strategy. Watch this to win. He has to fluidly cycle through different sword styles and redirect his force. Suddenly, a bright green magic circle glows beneath him. His choice of technique is the deadly Thunder Snow Sword. Across from him, the Blood Jade Spirit conjures a pale purple crest, sending a massive shockwave of sword intent and purple lightning roaring forward. A burning vortex of fire wraps Mo Xie. It's the deadly Void Knight Flamesword style. The blue blades of the Blood Jade Spirit relentlessly strike the raging storm spun by Mo Xie. As Zhu Minglang stands firm with his hands forming a seal, a voice echoes from the enemy, you really are an exceptional swordsman. He can speak? Zhu Minglang is completely stunned. Do you actually understand human language? He quickly warns his dragon pet. Moshe, this guy isn't making a sound. He's definitely communicating with me directly using his spiritual sense. The sword spirit responds, a sword obviously doesn't speak human tongue, but I can see your true strength. Tell me, do you know where the blood jade used to forge this weapon came from? Gripping Moshe tight, Zhu Minglang narrows his eyes and shoots back a probing question. Could you actually be the previous generations than Tuok Lang? The legendary spirit admits it directly. Since you know my identity, you should understand that my lingering soul in the original bloodline is far stronger than any dragon sword spirit. My consciousness is superior, boasting a true divine nature. If you agree, I'll happily become your brand new sword spirit. But under one condition, you must let me completely devour that pathetic creature. Zhu Minglang pauses, then coldly replies, what a delusional dream. Tell me, how did you die anyway? The Phantom of Than Tuok Lang answers, I fell for the Dragon Gate realm, a place you will definitely step into one day. When that time comes, my vast experience will guide you to far greater heights. That useless dragon spirit won't be able to help you at all. He points Mosier forward and asks, do you even know where my dragon sword spirit came from? The Phantom replies, the world indeed has plenty of low-grade spirits, accidentally gaining a shred of consciousness and somehow transforming into dragons, but their limits are incredibly low. I, however, was forged from divine celestial blood. I am destined to become a true divine sword, the master spirit of the sword realm. Zhu Minglang raises his sword high, eyes flashing with absolute anger as he calmly replies, unfortunately for you, I'm rejecting your offer. I've never treated my dragon spirit as just some tool to be tossed aside the second a shiny new weapon comes along. Remembering when he first tamed Mo Shi, his voice drops low, countless sword souls are just abandoned junk. They had masters once, but were abandoned to rust away over the years. Yet, because of that exact neglect, they developed their own consciousness, emotions, and life. Zhu Minglang continues, Mosier was born from tens of thousands of those abandoned swords, forged through my own blood refinement. He fought his way through billions of other weapon spirits to finally become a dragon. He is nothing like those ordinary souls. Until my body turns to dust and my soul fades to ash, I, Zhu Minglang, will never allow him to be abandoned ever again. He glares coldly, declaring, you had the perfect environment inside the Sword Foundry Temple, yet failed to transform into a dragon. How dare you brag about limitless potential and claim superiority? You are just a pathetic failure on the stairway to the high heavens, so accept your miserable fate. These harsh words hit the Phantom right where it hurts, freezing him in absolute shock. Instantly, Moshier erupts. 10,000 souls unite into one ultimate spirit-slaying blade, as pure energy rapidly condenses along the blade. Zhu Minglang taps his foot against the ground, launching himself high into the air. He charges forward alongside Mo Shi, aiming a decisive thrust directly at the Phantom of Than Tuok Lang. Now forced back into its physical form, the Blood Jade Sword clashes violently against Mo Shi. Out of nowhere, the Jade Blood Sword is shattered, completely broken into tiny pieces. Mạc Tà roars with pride, her eyes glowing bright. As the enemy afterimage slowly fades, it can only gasp in absolute terror. How is this possible? Mạc Tà pulls back her aura, returning to her true sword form. Suddenly, the sword souls pinned to the ground start shaking. Floating in midair, Mạc Tà draws those sword souls toward her. Here is where it gets crazy. Ancient sword souls have recognized Mạc Tà. With this newly forged soul added to her power, she is going to be unstoppable now. She hums in response to his praise. As the true leader of all sword souls, Mạc Tà is now completely unmatched under the heavens. Once the absorption is complete, she shifts from her dragon form back into a sword, flying straight into Zhu Minglang's hand. Holding her, he sighs, I really want to swing a sword again, but I'm no longer a sword cultivator. I'm a Dragon Tamer now. Crossing his arms, Zhu Minglang reminds himself there are times he cannot be majestic, times he can only stand by and watch his dragons fight. Useless trash. That is what they called him, without his dragons. Memories of his beloved dragon pets flash through Zhu Minglang's mind. From Bai Qi to Heya, Thon Troc, the female Oa Long, and Tiansha Long, with Mạc Tà in hand, Zhu Minglang knows he has lost nothing. Instead, his pride in them only grows. With them, he will never fight alone. Even if he is powerless, even if an endless abyss lies ahead, he will jump down with them and climb back up together. He stands tall. This is the true path of Zhu Minglang. With his task finished, he steps out of the forge with a bright smile. Tin Quan is sitting nearby fishing when Zhu Minglang approaches, telling him the Jade Blood Sword spirit is officially gone. Tin Quan calmly nods, saying it seems his son has nothing left to make him worry anymore. Flashing a mischievous grin at his father, he responds, you never actually worried about me anyway. Zhu Minglang laughs, offering his father a genuine thank you anyway. His father calmly waves it off. No need for formalities. I am just an ordinary man doing what I can. Right on cue, a fish bites the hook, and his father pulls it splashing out of the water. Zhu Minglang turns to leave, waving goodbye, Dad. I have some urgent business to handle at the Imperial capital. He heads out, leaving his father with his catch. Cut to another location, where Murtdung blushes, asking with deep concern Brother Truk, "Did everything go smoothly?" Walking over, he gently answers, "Yes. I let Mạc Tà swallow the Jade Blood Sword. Langshen probably won't make a move against Trukmon for now." Standing between them, Zhu Minglang adds, "To be safe, we must sneak into the Imperial capital tonight and rescue my aunt, Trukwang Fi. The royal family's stance is too delicate, and she might be in danger." Tinhua closes her eyes, warning him even if we go, nothing can be changed. Completely confused, he asks, "Has something happened in the capital? What is the situation there?" She hesitates, admitting she has seen a very complex future. Tinhua looks down sadly in the end. Every single clue points to just one person. The ending looks grim. Getting an idea, Zhu Minglang speaks up, "But if that's the case, we must find a way to stop Langshen. We've done it before, haven't we?" Tinhua looks up, her eyes softening as she nods in agreement. "You have a point." She turns to leave, advising him, "Master, rest up first while I find the dark portal leading directly inside the Imperial Palace. Once night falls and guard patrols thin out, we'll slip in to find Trukwang Fi." Zhu Minglang agrees, eventually drifting off to sleep. Suddenly, Zhu Minglang jolts awake. He grabs his head in utter disbelief. How on earth did I manage to sleep until midnight? He needs to reach the palace. Zhu Minglang quickly throws on his gear and rushes out the door. Arriving at the rendezvous point, he gasps out an apology for being late. Tinhua quickly reassures him, "It's fine, Master, let's go." Stepping forward, the group plunges into the space-time portal. Murtdung leaps out first, signaling that they have successfully arrived. Zhu Minglang looks toward the palace in surprise. The dark portal is actually located in the forest right behind it. Doesn't that mean Nightwalkers could easily terrorize the palace? You have to wonder how that even happens. As they go deeper, Murtdung suddenly turns pale. "Look, Brother Truk, this is absolutely terrifying." Tinhua sighs as she looks ahead. She never expected the royal family to be so helpless against these nightmares. Zhu Minglang frowns. Most guards at the pavilion are just normal martial artists, not god mortals with special powers. Naturally, they can't handle these creatures of darkness. Turning to Tinhua, Zhu Minglang's voice turns dead serious. "This isn't just Nightwalkers. There are distinct traces of dragon beasts here. In fact, that guard was clearly killed by one of them. The Nightwalkers just scavenged what was left." Murtdung hides behind Tinhua, whispering, "But Langshen's lackeys don't have any Dragon Tamers." Hearing this, he frowns pretty deeply. It seems someone from the royal family might actually be colluding with the Jackal Wolf Masters. He immediately rushes forward. "We need to find Trukwang Fi right now. I worry she is in grave danger." Inside the Wang Fi pavilion, a furious question echoes out, "Why did you deceive me?" Peering at the shadow through the window, Zhu Minglang realizes that is Imperial King Trilvian talking to his dear aunt. Inside, Trilvian keeps demanding answers. "Why did you lie to me for years? Are you not my destined one? Would I ever turn my back on you?" Hearing this, Zhu Minglang gasps at the mention of destiny. His father never spoke about his aunt, leaving her history a total mystery. What on earth does Trilvian mean by his destined one? Suddenly, Murtdung whispers, "Brother Truk, something is seriously wrong here. That king has been talking non-stop, yet Trukwang Fi is completely silent. Even a deep sleeper would have woken up by now." This realization hits him like a truck. Zhu Minglang yells out, "This is bad," before bursting through the doors in a panic. He cracks the door open just a tiny bit, and his eyes instantly widen in horror. His face goes pale. Look at this absolute horror on screen. A sharp sword is pinned straight through his poor aunt's stomach. He stands frozen, his gaze completely blank. King Trilvian actually murdered Trukwang Fi, and he's already gone. They all freeze in terror. Shaking behind him, Murtdung whispers, "Brother Truk, your Imperial King has almost certainly become a loyal hound for Hoaku. I once heard Humkind mention that after Trilvian followed Von Kie to meet Hoaku, he completely changed. He might be slightly possessed now." Zhu Minglang gapes in disbelief. "Did that really happen?" She frowns, nodding slowly. "Yes, but I only heard it in passing. If I had told you sooner, maybe this terrible tragedy could have been avoided." Zhu Minglang's voice turns dead serious. "Regret is pretty useless now. The dead are gone, and we cannot bring them back to life. Let's escape first and plan our next move." Suddenly, Tinhua warns him, "Master, someone is coming." Outside, a breathless messenger frantically rushes over to report. He reports that the lady inside has been stabbed by a sword, but the king is already moving. The old informant adds that troops from Prince Anne's mansion have already surrounded Trukmon, planning to strike the moment dawn breaks. "We can seize this chance to deploy the Imperial Guards and wipe out Trukmon completely." The Emperor instantly orders them to proceed. Hearing this, Zhu Minglang's face turns utterly pale. This is bad. He urges his friends to rush back to Trukmon immediately. He only anticipated the Jackal Wolf God, completely missing the royal family's move. By the time dawn breaks, they are still running. Zhu Minglang runs like mad, screaming out, "Dad, This is bad. Ant is dead, and Prince An's men are surrounding Trukmon, quietly watering his plants. Tianquan sighs, "Why are you yelling? Can't you see I stayed up all night? I'm incredibly sleepy right now. Besides, I already got word that all of Prince An's forces were wiped out. Stop worrying." Dumbfounded, he gasps, "You killed them?" His father just calmly nods. "Since your mother left and you are always away, I am just a lonely old man left to protect this home. So of course I have to guard it well." Staring at him, Zhu Minglang realizes why the courtyard felt pretty empty last night. "Exactly," his father quickly replies. "Prince An is merely a pawn for the Imperial Court anyway. They kept testing our limits just to sniff out Trukmon's real power." Glancing back, Zhu Minglang frowns a bit in deep thought. So what exactly is the true strength of our Trukmon right now? Wiping out Prince An's forces in a single night is something even the four great sects would find quite difficult. Waving his hand, he says before the divine realm descends, he is basically on par with the Imperial King. Don't believe him? Trukmon still holds some pretty serious power. Cultivators always fight over rare spiritual resources, but no one fights over the raw materials needed for forging. Instead, they are more than willing to trade with us. Forging these legendary weapons takes immense skill, making every major power dependent on us. Listening closely, Zhu Minglang leans forward with a serious look. Everyone constantly overlooks the blacksmith's power. With our massive arsenal, we can choose which faction rules the entire world. Standing nearby, his father nods along in total agreement. Exactly. Even my own son has been looking down on our family's blacksmithing. Others are exactly like that. We quietly build our fortune without any natural enemies, so why wouldn't we thrive? But suddenly, Zhu Minglang backs away, pulling a face packed with sheer attitude. "I have nothing against blacksmithing," he says. "I am just completely uninterested in it." Hearing that makes Zhu Tianguan dizzy with frustration. He complains that he dominated the world using blacksmithing, yet cannot even convince his own son, calling himself an absolute failure. As he speaks, Zhu Minglang's entire body trembles, his teeth tightly clenched as he struggles to endure. "Unfortunately, I could not save my aunt in time." By the time we reached Huangfei Pavilion, she had already passed away. Zhu Tianguan sighs and walks over, patting his shoulder to comfort him. He explains that he actually warned Zhu Yuji not to stay with Zhao Yuan, but she refused to listen. I believe she was probably already prepared to face death. Zhu Tianguan speaks with deep sincerity. Since the wipeout of Prince An Mansion, the royal family is no longer relying on their under-god organization. They likely know the true strength of Zhu's sect now, so he warns him to be extremely cautious. Dealing with the royals is easy, but the hidden power behind them is the real threat. Just then, Qin Yang arrives to report that a strange anomaly has appeared in Lishui City. Zhu Tianguan's face pales slightly, glancing back at Zhu Minglang. It looks like Zhao Yuan's forces are finally making their move. Get ready, because things are about to get wild. Understood. A few hours fly by as the sun rises higher, and their group gathers right in the front courtyard. Seeing him approach, Nan Xinghua quickly speaks up. "Young master, Mi Rong just went to Zulong City and brought back Xiong Jing and Zhu Mingli." Mi Rong whispers with a terribly anxious look, "Zhu Minglang, I cannot really help you out on the battlefield. All I can do is hide in this inner court. So I went back to help find people first." Seeing her close to tears, he smiles gently. "Do not say that. You have helped me immensely." Zhu Minglang confidently declares the few of us will head to Lishui City to fight the royal family and the Sparrow Wolf God. After a long trek, their entire group finally makes it deep into the thick, dark forest. Prince An Mansion is completely destroyed, yet the Sparrow Wolf God never showed up, meaning he was merely a disposable pawn. The one truly allied with the Sparrow Wolf God is the royal family itself. I worry the Sparrow Wolf God used the royal family to gather bloodstones, recovering much of his divine power. Taking him on right now is still far too risky. Nan Xinghua frowns, saying in a sweet, persuasive tone, "You are absolutely right, but we can still give it a try." Smiling, she tells him just keep a calm heart, no matter what happens next. He wonders what she actually means by that, but decides to simply do his absolute best. Suddenly, an army appears right ahead. It is the elite divine soldiers of the Shenyu realm. Behind them is a massive army. One look makes Zhu Minglang choke with absolute rage, gritting his teeth as if he wants to tear them all to shreds. Those are the royal dragon protection envoys. Zhao Yuan's people have arrived. Zhu Tianguan notices a terrified Zhu Mingyi speaking to Zhu Minglang. "Why are there so many of them? We cannot possibly fight them all, so we really should run away immediately." He turns to ask Zhu Tianguan, "Father, our Zhu sect just fought the Prince An Mansion. Dealing with both the Imperial Guards and Dragon Protection envoys right now is pretty tough. Should I call in some backup?" Zhu Tianguan just calmly pulls a talisman out of his robe. "What do you even know? A proper defense is not just about locking down the city walls like an iron barrel." The talisman suddenly turns from green to red, shooting a beam of spiritual energy into the sky to scatter their forces to every corner. Right then, A signal firework blooms high in the sky, summoning several extraordinary masters who were quietly hiding among the common folk. Wu Feng is leisurely rowing a boat, but the moment he catches the signal, he slowly touches his straw hat. He suddenly throws it aside, shouting orders to his disciples, "Hear my command, prepare to face the enemy." "Yes," they shout back in unison. Time passes under the clear blue sky. But check this out, the Jiaoshan sword sect suddenly appears, leaving Zhu Minglang absolutely shocked. It is actually the Jiaoshan sword sect. Why on earth are they coming to support us? Zhu Tianguan looks incredibly smug, boasting, "You do not understand how this works, do you?" Zhu Tianguan recalls their ancient battle in the Extreme Court, where every sword sect served as their allies. On top of that, he had invested in countless factions across this entire land. Every year, our Zhu sect pours massive funding into the Kanglong Palace and Gulong Palace. I single-handedly supported the Dingsheng sword sect, and even the Zizong Forest, which claims to be the strongest. They only formed these 3 minor factions because we provided them with our dragon armor. Looking off into the far distance, he boasts, even without their undergod organization, we could easily overthrow the entire dynasty overnight. But unfortunately, times have changed now. Our enemy is no longer just some small royal family. Zhu Minglang is completely stunned, thinking, "Good lord. So after all this time, the king of the dynasty, the sect leader, the Dragon Palace Lord, the crown princes, and all those legendary young masters are basically just for show?" He is utterly confused, his mouth twitching as he mutters, "I am the true chosen king, making my old man the retired emperor." Suddenly, Zhu Tianguan's mood shifts dramatically, his tone filled with deep, lingering regret. Too bad this time, the royal family is backed by Kuei Long, then a pretty tough opponent. Hearing all this, Tin Hoa calmly remarks that Kuei Long Than is actually considered quite weak in the core divine realm. Even if he is secretly helping the royal family, with his current weak state, he cannot transform the royal family overnight, so we still have a solid chance. Thian Quan chuckles in delight and praises her. "My daughter-in-law is absolutely right. Whether it is the divine or demon realm, we will always have a place." She blushes bright red and quickly turns away, thinking he must have mistaken her for someone else. Right then, Tin Hoa points to the high sky and calls out to Zhu Minglang, "Young master, look up at the sky. Does something feel off to you?" He quickly walks over and looks where she is pointing. There is nothing out of the ordinary, is there? But right after, massive dragons begin to appear, winding endlessly through the blue sky. Zhu Minglang instantly recognizes that azure-bodied beast, it is the legendary Tran Quoc Thuong Long, along with the Ngan Lam Thien Uyen Long. He is shocked that they actually brought all the dragons of the Yunji Dragon Kingdom here to aid the battle. Thian Quan is just as surprised. Not only did they deploy the royal family's Tran Quoc Thuong Long, but even that Ngan Lam Thien Uyen Long has arrived. It looks like Tru Vien is going all out to destroy our truck Monday. Tru Vien, carrying the imposing majesty of a ruler, bellows his command to completely wipe Truckmon off the face of the earth. "Do you think that just because you relied on that beast to destroy the Dai Chao clan and An Vuong Palace, which I painstakingly built, I would submit to you?" He stands majestically atop a riding dragon and boldly declares, "The imperial capital belongs to me, and the entire Kyukdin is also mine." With a sharp wave of his hand, he cold-bloodedly issues the decree, "Kill them all. Spare absolutely no one. I want this entire Kyukdin free of anyone named Truk." Ngo Fong immediately steps in front to shield Zhu Minglang, stating, "Let me face them." But Hong Kong steps forward to block that Tran Quoc Thuong Long. "Trovian and I share a bit of history, so let me be the one to go pay him a little visit." Seeing him fly off into battle, Tian Quan yells out a quick warning that Trovian is no walk in the park. "You had better be careful." Hong Kan confidently asserts that it is no problem, while Tian Quan pulls out another talisman. "I am about to make my move now, so pay attention." Then Thian Quan channels his spiritual energy to launch the talisman high into the sky, where brilliant red flowers begin to blossom. Witnessing this, Zhu Minglang gets an uneasy feeling that something absolutely terrifying is about to happen. Suddenly, a massive swarm of mechanical dragons crafted by their side surges forward. They charge straight toward Tru Vien's dragon army and launch a ferocious attack. Suddenly, one dragon charges and bites into a massive armored dragon's body, making it roar in pain. But against that solid steel frame, the attacker's teeth completely shatter. Catching it completely off guard, the armored dragon lands a heavy blow to its back, leaving it severely injured and spitting blood. These armored beasts relentlessly crush Tru Vien's forces. Watching all of this unfold, Zhu Minglang is left utterly speechless with shock. "You see that, right? The dragon armor made by Trukmon is way too powerful. Normal tamers struggle to train and collect resources just to upgrade their beast's claws, scales, wings, and fangs." Zhu Minglang marvels to himself, but Trukmon's gear can immediately boost a normal dragon's power, even letting them take on 10 at once. Thian Quan looks extremely proud of his creations. "So, how about now? Still not interested in blacksmithing?" But he can only offer some polite, humble words in response. I could never hope to reach your legendary heights in this lifetime, but I can certainly stand on your giant shoulders and accomplish what others never could. Unable to convince him, he mutters to himself that kids these days are pretty stubborn, but no matter, this final clash between us and the royal army is about to be decided. Meanwhile, the smaller dragons have been pushed so far that they angrily drive back the two beasts brought by Trio Vienne. Over here, the enemy soldiers are completely wiped out, dead bodies littering the ground as their forces press the advantage. Witnessing the total slaughter, Tro Swang desperately runs away. Damn it, he mutters furiously while hiding behind a tree. Is it really just me and the Imperial Guard left? Meanwhile, Zhu Minglang silently watches the brutal aerial war above. Everything is playing out exactly as planned. And now it just comes down to whether those two can take care of Trio Vienne and his legendary dragon. Ngo Fong begins to unleash his boundless spiritual energy. Thinking though I am a master swordsman, I have never actually faced the head of a dragon of the high heavens. The massive beast breathes out a torrent of destructive power straight toward him, but he grips his sword tighter as wild spiritual energy envelops the blade. Let us see if my sword can leave a scar on your massive hide. He slashes his sword forward with immense power, releasing several incredibly sharp strikes in an instant. Receive this. Ngo Fong unleashes his signature sword net technique, creating a grid of sharp energy to trap the beast, but it roars furiously and breaks free with its breath, instantly shattering the glowing prison. Seeing the dragon desperately struggling to get loose, he immediately charges forward and drives his blade straight into its head. Get down! As the beast plunges down from the clouds, the soldiers panic and shout, Our Tran Quoc Thuong Long has fallen. Catch him! Watching Ngo Fong proudly sheath his sword, Hong Kan praises him with deep satisfaction. That swordsmanship is truly miraculous, using small to defeat large, but too bad I am still better at simple, brutal methods. Right then, the Vanthrin dragon angrily charges, catching him completely off guard. Hong Jing casually unleashes his power, instantly shutting down its incoming strike. Next, he violently flings Yun Tianlong miles away, leaving Wu Feng watching the whole thing in absolute helplessness. Oh my god, that is Yun Tianlong, one of Zhao Yuan's 5 dragons, and his raw power easily rivals the famous Guardian Azure Dragon. Hold on, this guy just caught a legendary dragon barehanded. Zhao Yuan watches the fight solemnly before speaking up to test him. Who on earth are you? Hong Jing snaps, glaring directly toward the direction of that annoying voice. Getting no reply, the emperor tries to win him over, asking why a legendary Tianxiong powerhouse like him would ever serve a bunch of simple blacksmiths. But Hong Jing refuses to buy his lies. He immediately fires back with a cold response. I am of the Shangkui clan. Hua Chou wiped out my people, so of course I will join forces with Zhuman to fight back. Hong Jing turns and furiously calls him out, mocking him for wagging his tail to beg his own enemy for mercy. You even handed your own subjects over to become lapdogs for those gods. You are completely unfit to be the Jiting emperor. Zhao Yuan seethes with pure rage, shouting that as long as he can achieve godhood, nothing else in this world matters. He instantly summons his giant dragon heads. Since you are so stubborn and dare defy the gods, go ahead and burn to ashes just like the rest of your people. As the giant dragons surround him, Hong Jing calmly sheathes his sword, unfazed. Channeling his massive spiritual energy, he unleashes heavy punches to knock down every single dragon. Then, Hong Jing blasts into the sky, targeting Zhao Yuan directly. Panicking, the emperor hurls a sharp weapon at him, screaming that Hong Jing is the one who needs to be destroyed. Hong Jing rains down devastating strikes, mockingly shouting that someone who acts worse than a beast could never hope to become a god. Below them, Tianguan already foresees the end of the clash. Amazed by the Shangkui sovereign's earth-shattering power, he tells Zhu Minglang it is a good thing he brought this man, as victory against the royals is guaranteed. But Zhu Minglang calmly wonders if the Kuilang god will show up. Suddenly, Xinghua stumbles, dizzy. Sensing the imminent danger, Zhu Minglang rushes to support her and asks what is wrong. He asks if she is all right or if she saw a vision, causing her to blush slightly from his sudden concern. Wait, we are running out of time here. A strange, icy blizzard begins blowing in from outside the fortress. Everywhere this bone-chilling wind passes, the extreme cold instantly freezes the flowing rivers solid. Pointing at the frost, Xinghua urges him to look up. Massive ice blocks rain down. The cloud sea has collapsed. As Zhu Minglang shields her, she warns that the bone-freezing ice of the Cloud Dragon Empire drains all vitality, and even powerful cultivators cannot resist it. He carefully analyzes the situation, knowing Zhao Yuan would never sacrifice 800 of his own to kill 1,000. This must be the work of the Kuilang god. Anxiously, she adds that the terrifying deity will be arriving very soon. Nearby, several people freeze, fast. Their mouths stay wide open in shock. Sweating profusely, Tianguan realizes this is the deadly bone-freezing ice and quickly grabs a yellow talisman to launch an attack. He shouts to release the spell high and use dragon breath for cover as giant dragons appear to melt the thick ice. Tianguan frantically screams for the ice to melt, but other enemy dragons above are spewing deadly frost breath, causing everyone to run around in absolute terror. Meanwhile, Zhao Yuan sweats heavily, blood dripping from his mouth. Defeated. His companion mockingly tells him to clean up his own self-destructive mess. Zhao Yuan turns deathly pale, stammering in shock as to how things ended up like this. Suddenly, a massive eye appears beside Zhao Yuan as the voice of Lord Quelang. God declares that low-class mortals are merely beasts to be raised by higher beings. Suddenly, everyone spots him. Quelang has arrived. He callously states that if sacrificing their flesh and blood can forge a divine bead, they should not hesitate to do it. This proposal leaves Zhao Yuan in deep thought. Seeing this, his loyal subordinate pleads, begging the emperor to save them since they have always been faithful. Please, you must save us. Regaining his composure, the emperor decides his royal army is useless anyway, so sacrificing them to empower the Quelang god is a worthy trade. Dark energy begins rising from the countless fallen monsters on the ground. Nearby, a figure sits curled up as a strange, overwhelming power begins to radiate from his body. Standing proudly on a dragon's back, Quelang glares down at the two figures below. The legendary Quelang god has mastered absorbing nature's spiritual essence and combining it with this bone-freezing ice, making him truly unstoppable in battle. If the entire Imperial army is reduced to life force dust, his power will be fully restored. Witnessing this, Zhu Minglang urgently turns to ask Tianguan if he is all right. Are you okay, Dad? He quickly continues, urging his father to attack now before the god absorbs enough life dust to fully restore his divine power. He suggests uniting all the masters. His father only responds with a calm gaze. Frowning slightly, Tianguan asserts he will handle the Quelang god himself, knowing any reckless move will only lead to certain death. He presses his lips together, muttering that they must secure a backup plan, making Zhu Minglang ask back in total confusion a way out. Zhu Minglang falls deep into thought, wondering if this is the exact reason his old man always kept him away from the imperial capital and Truck Monday. Suddenly, Tianquan places a hand on his shoulder, reminding him they are all walking in the dark. He whispers, admitting he wants Zhu Minglang to lead as many people as possible to safety on the other side, instead of dying with him here. Zhu Minglang furrows his brows, arguing that they should fight side by side, which only makes Tianquan's face turn dead serious. No, even if you stay, you must absolutely watch in silence from the sidelines. Until Quelang Shen plays his final trump card, you cannot make a single move. We cannot afford to slip up even slightly. Zhu Minglang reluctantly agrees. Fine, do not watch. He turns his back on Zhu Minglang, calmly walking away, demanding he swear that no matter how many of them die, even if Tianquan fights to the death here, unless Quelang Shen is backed into a corner, Zhu Minglang cannot show himself or interfere, or he will have him dragged away by force. The kid clenches his fists, watching his father walk away. I swear it. With a grimly serious expression, Zhu Minglang swears that if Quelang Shen's power exceeds expectations, they will flee immediately to preserve a spark of hope for Ji Ting. He looks back with a solemn gaze, telling him to go, because Ji Ting must have a tomorrow, and their choice must bring hope. Unsheathing his magnificent blade, Tianquan stands tall and proud, raising the glowing weapon high into the stormy sky. Now watch this. He rallies his soldiers to slay Quelang Shen as their war cries echo. He charges forward with a slight smirk on his face, while massive fireballs rain down onto the barrier behind him. In a flash, Tianquan leaps atop a massive azure dragon. Standing on its head, glowing streaks of light suddenly erupt around him, catching him slightly off guard. Standing on the dragon, he grips his sword tightly. Even though I am not a cultivator, Tianquan calls out to Tuk Lang, with the right tricks, do not think I cannot lay a finger on you. Hands behind his back, Tuk Lang mocks him, asking if those demigod weapons are his grand plan. Watching from below, Zhu Minglang is lost in thought, knowing these weapons are his father's ultimate life's work. 5 forged artifacts surpassing saint grade, each containing its own weapon spirit. His father is definitely going all out, as Tuk Lang wears a mocking smirk. It turns out everything I have been hunting for in Ji Ting was pocketed by a mere blacksmith like you. You summoned every weapon spirit to face me, yet hid the Jade Blood Sword. It seems you already know something. Tianquan snaps back, telling him he will never lay his hands on it. But the god just laughs, asking if Tianquan is actually terrified right now. Tuk Lang chuckles maliciously, taunting him that he is terrified of failing, and terrified that losing the Jade Blood Sword will make him Ji Ting's eternal sinner. Right then, 3 pairs of massive wings erupt from Tianquan's back, glowing with brilliant orange and gold light. Grim-faced with hands behind his back, he snaps that Tuk Lang is the terrified one. As the glorious Quelang Shen, worshipped by millions, you dared not compete in the divine realm, choosing instead to play dirty tricks in Ji Ting. No matter how powerful you act here, you are still just a pathetic nobody in the divine realm. Enraged, Tuk Lang charges forward, and Tianquan meets him head-on, as the god screams that if he had just surrendered the Jade Blood Sword, He might have shown some mercy, but since Tianquan refused to appreciate it, wait. Things are taking a pretty dark turn. His severed arm has fully healed, and he is ready to slaughter them all. Tianquan roars to cover him, and they eagerly shout their agreement. Instantly, they activate the Red Lotus sword formation, gathering countless blades into a massive wave of raw energy. The storm of swords flies straight at Tuk Lang with absolutely devastating force, yet he merely scoffs, casually grabbing his cloak. Whipping his cloak forward, Tuk Lang uses it like a shield to block the incoming blades. A second later, Tianquan lunges at him, yelling to try this on for size before delivering a heavy stomp that completely shatters the ground below. However, Tuk Lang easily evades the strike. Floating high in the air, looking down at the dazed Tianquan below, he declares it all ends here, extending his arm to slam the warrior down like a ragdoll. The sky is now filled with thick brown smoke. Panicked, the men below cry out to protect the sect master at all costs. As soon as Tianquan crashes down, his loyal men rush forward, combining their energy to form a massive shield over him. But immediately, thick coils of smoke wrap around, squeezing them mercilessly. Amidst the chaos, Tianquan desperately unleashes another strike toward the maniacally laughing god, but the arrogant deity easily catches his lunging arm in midair. Tuk Lang quickly delivers a brutal blow straight to his chest, as a mysterious vortex of light suddenly erupts from Tianquan's body. With a small orb in his hand, Tuk Lang smirks coldly. Look closely, those elite Truckmon warriors you spent so much time raising are nothing more than a bunch of pathetic, worthless pests in my eyes. Tuk Lang waves his hand, and the orb instantly swells as light swirls all around it. Suddenly, the orb shoots downward like a meteor, slamming violently into the ground directly in front of a stunned Zhu Minglang. Staring at the absolute destruction before his very eyes, Zhu Minglang is completely stunned, wondering if the terrifying Kuei-Lang Shen is truly some kind of unbeatable god that cannot be defeated. Seeing his despair, Tianhua places a gentle hand on his shoulder, asking if he still remembers her words. No matter what happens, she warns, you must remain absolutely calm. Looking back at her, Zhu Minglang softly replies that he understands. The two turn to leave, but Zhu Minglang's mind is still racing with endless thoughts. He must discover the true source of Kuei-Lang Shen's power to get his revenge. Suddenly, his face pales as lightning-like streaks of light rapidly close in on them. Summoning his sword with a fiery gaze, Zhu Minglang loudly shouts for Mạc Tà to appear. Seeing this, Tuk Lang charges forward with an arrogant laugh, mocking that destiny is cruel since he has been searching everywhere for him ever since Zhu Minglang cut his arm off years ago. He searched everywhere but could never find him, never expecting to see the Jade Blood Sword in his hands. Slashing forward, Zhu Minglang fiercely retorts this time. He will slice off Tuk Lang's head instead of just an arm. Dodging the blow, Tuk Lang snarls that he will skin Zhu Minglang alive to make a carpet for his throne and turn his crushed bones into temple urns. Grip tightening on his sword as the enemy swoops down from above, Zhu Minglang frowns in deep thought before suddenly glancing away to call out. He asks Tianhua what she is doing, which completely throws Tuk Lang off and makes him spin around to look. Both of them stare in confusion, even with Kuei-Lang Shen mid-attack. It is as if Tianhua used some mysterious spell to trap his gaze on her. Wondering what is happening, Tuk Lang suddenly shifts his focus and lunges straight at her instead. He screams that she cannot escape her tragic destiny, swearing that he will slaughter her on the spot without showing even a single shred of mercy. Zhu Minglang scrambles to stop him while Tianhua stands completely frozen, watching helplessly as his deadly hands close in. Terrified for her safety, his eyes suddenly snap open as he jolts awake. Wait, was that really a dream? Frowning deeply, he bolts upright in bed as Tianhua, who is sitting anxiously at his bedside, asks if the young master is finally awake. Rubbing his aching forehead with a trembling hand, Zhu Minglang desperately looks around the quiet room, asking Tianhua where they are while she sits gracefully beside him with her hands gently crossed. She tilts her head, softly explaining that everything he just experienced was only a dream. It is a vision of tomorrow, she explains, as they have not even started their journey to the palace yet, leaving him absolutely speechless. And get this, he sits there in absolute disbelief, whispering to himself that it was all just a dream. But the vision felt too terrifyingly real, to the point where even the deafening roars of Kuei-Lang Shen are still echoing clearly inside his mind. Placing her hand over her heart, Tianhua explains that she shared her foresight with him, letting him experience the future firsthand. Do you still remember the exact warning I gave you back then? No matter what kind of tragedy unfolds before you, you must maintain your absolute composure. Hearing her words, Zhu Minglang completely loses his cool and lets out a massive shout of relief. So none of those horrible things have actually happened yet? Truckmon and my dad are safe. Hearing this, Tianhua shyly lowers her head. Clenching her hands, she confirms they are safe. Entering the foresight realm for the first time is incredibly painful and hard to accept, but she explains that knowing it was a dream beforehand would have completely ruined the vision's ultimate accuracy. She begs him not to be angry for keeping it a secret, but he steps closer and gently takes her small hand, asking how he could ever blame her for this. In fact, he is incredibly grateful because this vision essentially gives them a second chance. Embarrassed, Zhu Minglang quickly pulls his hand back and looks away to think. If they can foresee the future, they need a solid long-term plan. He wonders what their next move should be. Frowning deeply as he rests his arm and strokes his chin, Zhu Minglang mutters that there is still one highly suspicious detail that is deeply bothering him. For instance, if Kuei Shen restored his power using the Dung Ngok, he could have easily wiped out the Long Thun Bang directly. There was absolutely no need for him to use the Bakhli Luza unless he somehow obtained the Dung Ngok directly from the royal family. Sitting across from him and listening intently, Tinhua agrees that this is highly likely. Staring out at the bright moonlight, Zhu Minglang realizes that To stopped Triorvine from handing the Dung Ngok to Kuei Shen. They must find his eldest aunt. Since it is not midnight yet, she is still alive, but he has no idea how saving her will alter the course of destiny. Glancing to the side, Tinhua suggests that if he is hesitant, she can share her foresight with him once again. They can easily simulate what happens after saving Tru Kuangfei, allowing them to try a different path if the outcome turns out to be bad. Only this time, the predicted window is much shorter, lasting only until noon tomorrow. Suddenly, Zhu Minglang turns to look straight at her, asking if doing this again will hurt her body, while Tinhua simply looks back and quietly reassures him that she is fine. The sacrifice of the human soul can trigger the deepest, most powerful potential hidden within a spirit. There will be some backlash afterward, but she tells the young master not to worry, because it won't be like what happened to Li Yunzi last time. Zhu Minglang immediately snaps back that he cannot help but worry since he cannot let anything happen to them, so they must take this gamble and head to the Imperial Palace first. That very night, the three of them waste no time slipping into the Imperial Palace grounds. In the palace backyard, Tinhua stands beside him and warns both Zhu Minglang and Mat Dung that they must strictly follow everything that happened in the dream world. They must avoid altering the timeline, otherwise tomorrow's events will shift and ruin their visions. That would make their dream useless. So Zhu Minglang calmly agrees that if Triuvian attacks Consort Truck, they must not interfere, and should wait until he leaves before rescuing her. He leads them inside, sneaking forward. Now watch how tense this gets. Tinhua and Mat Dung follow hesitantly behind him, as an incredibly furious voice suddenly echoes from inside the chamber. The speaker rages, demanding to know why she deceived him all these years when she was never the chosen one, accusing her of tricking him when she is actually absolutely nothing. Zhu Minglang peeks inside the room, realizing that the confrontation has begun and that is definitely Triuvian speaking. Sitting straight in her chair, Ngokchi fearlessly asks if her not being the chosen one makes her worthless. Is she not worth a single penny in his eyes? But Triuvian emotionlessly replies that she knows what he needs, demanding she hand over the Jade Lantern. She stands up in anger and refuses, warning him that the Kuei Shen will bring ruin to the Kukdin Empire, begging him to be rational. They should unite with Truk Thien Quan to fight off their external enemies instead of causing internal chaos. But Triuvian loses control, and screams that she only cares about Truk Thien Quan and her Truk sect, completely ignoring his feelings. Anyone who stands in his way now must die, and that includes her. Her face turning pale, Ngokchi tears her sleeve open to reveal her heavily scarred arm, declaring she will end things herself. Triuvian sneers coldly that even if she does, she will never keep the Jade Lantern safe from him. He will find it soon anyway, so she can go ahead and die if she wants to. With those final brutal words, he waves his hand to order his Imperial guards to slaughter all of her servants and forbid anyone from stopping her bleeding, to which they quickly agree. Staring at the bloody scene, Zhu Minglang hides behind the door, realizing with dread that his aunt had already torn her own sleeve before he even arrived. He cannot fight Triuvian's guards head-on right now, and can only hope there is still enough time to save Consort Truk. Triuvian turns to leave, telling his guard to follow him, while the soldier bows respectfully in agreement. Assuring the Emperor, the guard follows him out, while Zhu Minglang watches silently from the shadows, repeating the title under his breath. Once Triuvian is gone, Zhu Minglang rushes into the room, calling out to his aunt that they have arrived to save her. Finding Jok Chi lying motionless on the cold floor, he rushes to lift her up and try to stop the bleeding. Looking at her with gentle warmth, Jok Chi weakly raises her hand, telling him not to waste his energy because she will not survive this. Remaining by his side was already a betrayal of her original vow, so being allowed to live until now was already a form of mercy. Tears welling in his eyes, Zhu Minglang quickly holds her hand and pours medicine onto her wounds, asking what she is even saying. He tells her she cannot give up, but suddenly stops mid-sentence as he notices the wounds on her arm are beginning to spread. What on earth is happening here? We are definitely looking at something sinister. Normally, the healing power of the celestial rabbit dragon is incredibly potent, and its saliva can rapidly close even the most severe wounds. But this time, it does not stop the bleeding, and the wound actually starts spreading outward instead. Staring down at her mangled arm, she whispers to herself that this specific wound was not caused by her own hand. She adds that she cannot be saved, leaving Zhu Minglang utterly wide-eyed with fear as he asks who did this to her. His mind races with questions as he recalls her mentioning a broken vow, wondering exactly whose oath she had betrayed. As Zhu Minglang supports her, Injokchi weakly whispers that her remaining time in this world is running very short. The precious jade lantern she hid is actually the Imperial Jade seal, kept inside the incense burner right behind him. She warns they must stop Trivian from taking it, but they can never carry it out of the palace. So Zhu Minglang holds her tight and promises to find it immediately. Standing up, he approaches the incense burner and opens it, finally revealing the secret treasure hidden deep inside. It turns out the Imperial Jade seal is actually the ancient divine lantern, and securing it is absolutely critical for them. Without it, Kuei Longshan's ability to restore his divine power will be heavily weakened, and Zhu Minglang joyfully retrieves the seal before spinning back to show her. I found it. But Elder Aunt, you said earlier that we cannot possibly take this thing out of the royal palace. His face instantly freezes in shock, cold sweat breaking out as he stammers, why is that? Her eyes are tightly shut, lying peacefully on the ground without any response. Zhu Minglang slumps down right next to her, desperately trying to shake Ngokchi awake as he panic calls out to his elder aunt. Tin Hoa can't believe her eyes, covering her mouth with her hand as she stammers she is really gone. Zhu Minglang gently bends down to lay Ngokchi down, his voice heavy with sorrow as he realizes he still couldn't stop his elder aunt from dying. Tin Hoa holds up that mysterious gift and touches it gently, her eyes wide with shock as she examines the strange light radiating from it. A permanent, unbreakable seal is carved inside this jade. The moment we try to carry it out of this specific area, it will trigger a resonant vibration, instantly drawing the palace guards right to us. Tin Hoa looks deep into the relic and speaks up, realizing this must be the exact reason why there is no way to take it with them. He glances at her and replies, so that's how it is. Zhu Minglang then gets on his feet and walks toward the exit. Staring out at the sky, he mutters the boundary set by this seal must be the exact range of Zhao Yuan's influence. If we head over to the Cloud Dragon Kingdom, would that count as leaving the palace territory? The defense there should be a bit weaker. Tin Hoa knits her brows with absolute determination, placing her hand over her heart for sure. It is definitely worth a shot. We might find a way to break the seal there, and besides, we still need to uncover the deep secrets of the Cloud Dragon Kingdom. Looking at Ngokchi lying peacefully there, his fist clenches tight as he struggles to hold back his raging emotions. Zhu Minglang whips around to face the other two, raising his fist as he declares with fierce resolve, we cannot let Elder Ant's sacrifice be in vain. We head to the Cloud Dragon Kingdom right now. She and Mat Dung quickly nod in agreement. Before long, the group is already making their way toward the grand palaces built high above the clouds. And check this out, surrounded by a protective crimson energy, they finally spot their destination, the majestic Cloud Dragon Kingdom. Carrying the relic, Zhu Minglang takes the lead, keeping his eyes peeled as he scans their massive surroundings in awe. Just as I thought, only royals enter and leave the Cloud Dragon Kingdom, so there are barely any guards around here. Walking calmly behind him, Tin Hoa tilts her head. Then we can use this perfect chance to find the Heaven's Lament dragon, since it holds the key to all the kingdom's mysteries. That legendary dragon was originally worshipped by the royal family, yet Zhao Yuan handed it over to the wolf god without hesitation. There must be a hidden motive behind this. Suddenly, a figure appears ahead. Mat Dung points over out of curiosity and asks Brother Truck, who is that? That looks like the state guardian Azure Dragon up ahead, and the man beside it is Zhu Minglang, explains as he follows her gaze. It is Prince Zhao Cheng, and they must be planning their attack on the bamboo sect for tomorrow. Let us listen closely to what they are saying. A cheerful young woman approaches Prince Zhao Cheng, speaking in a soft, respectful voice. Lord Prince, you are still just the same as always. Even at this hour, you are still here comforting the dragons. Do you really know every single Azure Dragon in this entire place? He gently hugs the head of a nearby dragon, looking at it with absolute tenderness as he replies, of course. I have had no children of my own in this life, so they are like my very own kids. Today, I just want to spend some extra time with them. His subordinate frowns slightly, her expression turning serious as she lowers her voice. Lord Prince, from your tone, is there something weighing on your mind? They are only the bamboo sect, even if they have grown much stronger over the years. They are still absolutely no match for our royal family's true power. Zhao Chang sighs and raises his hand to stop her, warning in a highly cautious voice we must not underestimate them. Of course, that battle is not what is troubling me. There are just some matters that I still cannot quite figure out. Forget it. Go tell the king that everything on my end has been fully prepared. I plan to visit the ancient ancestor, the Heaven's Lament dragon, before returning. Standing behind him, his subordinate offers with deep concern. Let me send a few guards with you, just in case you run into any vicious demon saints. Zhao Chang turns to leave. He waves his hand dismissively. No need, I can handle myself. You should head back first. With that, he channels his energy, launching straight into the sky and flying off like a gust of wind. Zhu Minglang frowns slightly, quickly summoning Bai Qi with a sharp order. Wait for it, Bai Qi suddenly expands in size, carrying the three of them into the sky as they shadow their target. Mat Dung sits snugly right behind Zhu Minglang. Looking up, she remarks this prince seems to be the main one who takes care of the Cloud Dragon Kingdom. Sometime later, we cut to the Cloud Abyss, the sacred resting place of the heavenly dragons. Bai Qi carries the group to their destination, soaring gracefully above. Mat Dung gazes down and gasps, wow. Judging by this pure aura, it must be a benevolent dragon. Hearing this, Zhu Minglang is immediately puzzled. What on earth is a benevolent dragon? Xinya suddenly appears right behind them, acting all wise as he chimes in when it comes to dragon lore. You obviously have to ask me. He then begins his explanation. Just as there are vicious beasts bringing bad omens, there are also benevolent dragons that bring blessings. They are peaceful, kind, and illuminate all living things. Even freezing their bones in the icy void is their way of maintaining order for the Azure Dragon Clan. He continues to ask, but why are they called benevolent dragons? Zai stares in complete shock and asks how Zhu Minglang even knows about them being used by the Tuklang god to cause that freezing massacre across the entire imperial capital. Zhu Minglang calmly replies that Shai will find out tomorrow anyway, so he should stop asking, especially since explaining it to him is probably useless. Fuming with rage, Shai snaps back, asking how he can know if nobody tells him, and why Zhu Minglang thinks he won't get it. He can only sigh helplessly, thinking about how other people get an all-knowing master to teach them perfect techniques and flawless secrets. But for him, just a lazy old guy who loves to argue. Right then, Tianhua steps forward and gently reminds Mr. Sai that they already told him once before, though he seems to have forgotten. But that is fine, she really just wants to know if such a benevolent dragon could actually be manipulated by someone else. Shai opens his eyes wide and explains that it is entirely possible because their cultivation style is unique, focusing on performing good deeds to protect the land and save all living beings. These benevolent dragons are completely different from other beasts. They cannot raise their power by devouring the soul pearls of other dragons, or even eat spiritual plants, which makes Sai realize that these creatures are normally highly intelligent, always extremely cautious, but in the right desperate situation. And this is the truly terrifying part. If they cannot distinguish good from evil, they get easily manipulated, destroying their very soul with no hope of recovery. Hearing this, Zhu Minglang points out that this scheme clearly does not benefit the Teen Yuan dragon at all. They must find a way to save it. While high above, Bai Qi soars through the clouds as Triersung gently comforts his dragon below. Mert Dung looks down and warns Trukha that the Dragon Academy director is talking to the beast. She suggests getting closer to listen to their conversation, which he immediately agrees to, as Triersung softly promises his dragon that its long years of suffering are finally ending. The toxic Dak Kot Sung clinging to its body for 10,000 years will be cleansed, as long as it obeys the god tomorrow. Hearing this, Zhai gasps in shock. It turns out the ancient, benevolent dragon is losing its memory and mind, making it incredibly easy to manipulate. Zhu Minglang immediately mocks Sai, joking that someone with his terrible memory has no right to judge others, but silently realizes they cannot save the Tianverk dragon directly, meaning they must persuade Triersung. This man is more rational than Trier Dirt. He also truly cares for the dragons of the Van Qilong nation, as Bai Qi senses the tension and looks back at his master. Zhu Minglang tells the group to wait there while he goes to negotiate directly with Prince Triersung. If he can make him see the Tuklang god's true dark motives, the prince surely won't sacrifice his men and dragons to feed that evil deity. Tianhua instantly agrees to his plan, while Mert Dung quickly steps in with a crucial reminder. She tells Trukha to stay safe, and after finally catching up, Zhu Minglang leaps down from Bai Qi's back. He lands softly on the clouds right behind Triersung, who quickly spins around and demands to know who he is. Zhu Minglang respectfully bows and admits that what he is about to say might sound completely unbelievable. But if the prince truly loves the sacred dragons of the Van Qilong nation, especially that ancient old white dragon, then he must listen patiently to these few words. Even though he comes from the Trukmon, it does not mean they have to be enemies. Hearing the name Trukmon, the prince scoffs, asking how someone from that sect can expect peace, and warns that holding back his blade is already highly generous. Zhu Minglang shows absolutely no fear and calmly asks if the prince even knows what kind of path the Thenai dragon cultivates. The prince coldly tells him to mind his own business, but since talking isn't forbidden, Zhu Minglang points directly at the green dragon standing right behind Triersung. The magnificent Thenai dragon is actually a sacred symbol of pure blessing. It walks a benevolent path, blessing and protecting this entire land, completing 1,000 years of hard cultivation that was never easy. Yet forcing it to obey that deity will trigger a devastating heavenly lightning tribulation. Imagine the horror of having your body and soul completely shattered. Hearing this, Triersung stammers, desperately trying to argue back, but the words completely die in his throat. Looking over at the Thenai dragon, he silently realizes that Zhu Minglang might actually be right. Years ago, The holy dragon was struck by the ice-evil Emperor Dragon's tail. This left it poisoned and severely mentally broken. But before the Tuk Lang god can read the prince's shifting thoughts, Zhu Minglang quickly pushes on with his warning. The Tuk Lang god of the Tiansha region is extremely brutal, relying on ruthless exploitation for his own selfish gains. Everyone across the borders knows this, and letting the Tianai dragon obey him only forces this noble creature to ruin its own holy path. Hearing these bold accusations from a mere mortal sparks his curiosity. He demands to know how a simple member of the Trukmon has any right to judge a god, but Zhu Minglang refuses to argue. He simply asks Prince Trilsung if a smart man like him really believes the deity won't eventually betray him. It is all because of his background. Just because of his family status, he forced the emperor to worship the gods and pushed his own agenda. Feeling highly insulted, he turned away and said, "Until I see those claims with my own eyes, I will not listen to any more of your provocations. See you on the battlefield tomorrow." Zhu Minglang smiled bitterly, then seriously replied, "That is fine. Just remember this. Tomorrow, I will let you see the truth with your own eyes, and I hope you help us then." Zhu Minglang had spoken. The final choice was now entirely up to Zhao Cheng. Deep down in his heart, the young man thought, he must have been slightly moved by my words. He probably just lacks a solid reason to help us out. Let's wait. Once their talk wrapped up, he walked back to Bai Qi and said, "Bai Qi, let's go." All three climbed back onto Bai Qi's back to head home. On their way, Zhu Minglang asked, "Do you mean that Tianai dragon was poisoned? Just imagine that poison fused with its dragon aura, causing this bizarre ice void bone to appear." He turned his gaze to Tinhua and asked, "If that is indeed the case, perhaps we can find some suitable spiritual resources to heal the Tianai dragon, reducing the effects of the ice void bone." Tinhua thought it over seriously before replying. "In theory, that is definitely possible, but we will not make it in time. We must quickly find another way to stop Kuei Longshen from controlling the Tianai dragon." Zhu Minglang looked lost, murmuring softly, "Another way? I honestly cannot think of anything right now, except figuring out how to deal with Kuei Longshen's bloody crimson sand." Tinhua quickly changed the subject and asked him, "That is strange. Judging by our distance when we entered the Cloud Dragon Kingdom, we should have already left the Imperial Palace boundaries, but this Jade Lantern is not reacting, and its tracking seal has somehow faded." He was not entirely sure himself, guessing that it was probably the effect of the Ice Void Bone. This mark was placed on the outside, so if the Ice Void Bone covers and absorbs the outer layer of the Jade Lantern, the seal will definitely weaken right along with it. Zhu Minglang then pulled the weakly glowing Jade Lantern out from the front of his robes. Holding it right in front of Bai Qi's nose, he said, "Little Bai Qi, take a sniff of this jade." Bai Qi did not understand his goal, but it obeyed anyway. Inhaling deeply, it blew a massive cloud of thick smoke directly over the Jade Lantern. The Jade Lantern automatically absorbed the dense smoke right into itself. Zhu Minglang held the Jade Lantern up, while Mi Rong cheered behind him. "It worked. The tracking seal is completely gone." "Tinhua," exclaimed young master, "we can finally leave the royal territory." Mi Rong then asked, "Big brother, where do we go next? Should we take the undercurrent back to Ancestral Dragon City State to bring back reinforcements?" He rubbed his chin, knowing Kuei Longshen's tricks could not be beaten with numbers. It was best to find a certain someone first. Mi Rong curiously asked, "Who are we finding?" Zhu Minglang replied, "Shang Zhuang. He understands soul absorption better than anyone else. We already dropped hints that Qi Longshen was likely the real killer who slaughtered his entire family last time. Back then, he could not connect the dots, but he has definitely figured it out by now." Tinhua agreed. "That matches my thoughts exactly, young master. Look down there," she pointed directly below, where the Imperial Palace undercurrent was waiting for them. Bai Qi gradually lowered its altitude and soared directly into a spatial portal waiting wide open there. With absolute excitement, Zhu Minglang shouted out, "Let us go!" Obeying instantly, Bai Qi dived straight through the swirling spatial rift hovering in front of them. Together, the three of them quietly paced down the empty, silent corridors of the Ancestral Dragon City State Prison. Very soon, they reached a locked cell with a lone figure sitting inside, and it was indeed Shang Zhuang. The moment he spotted their figures at his cell door, Shang Zhuang scoffed with clear annoyance. "Why are you here again? What do you want to know this time?" Zhu Minglang countered, "Last time, I pointed out who your true enemy was. By now, surely you have carefully mapped out how you are going to get your revenge. If you do not want to keep aiding a monster, you had better start sharing more details about that soul-absorbing technique of his." Hearing that, he quickly agreed. "Fine, I will talk. I just remembered meeting a rogue cultivator during my investigation into soul-absorbing spells, and his entire body was covered in poisonous boils. The blood running inside his veins was completely dried up, looking exactly like blood mixed with sand. The mere description is enough to make you shudder." Zhu Minglang looked genuinely surprised, realizing that Kuei Longshen suffered from the exact same condition. No wonder the madman is in such a rush to devour every faction, and this symptom proves his condition is critical. Shang Zhuang continued, explaining that this soul-absorbing method inflicts a terrifying backlash, drying up the user's blood step by step until it hardens into solid blood sand. The only way to solve this is by absorbing the blood of a direct blood relative, and that Ta Tan Tin simply couldn't bring himself to harm his own biological daughter. Since he did not have long to live, I agreed to care for his daughter, and he handed me the very last bit of living blood from his body. Ta Tan Tin told me, this living blood actually contains a quite deadly backlash poison. If someone actually uses that exact technique, spraying this poison blood into the air will trigger a backlash, causing their own origin blood to rot away way faster. As he speaks, he pulls out a small flask containing the blood, saying it belongs to us now. He hands it over to Zhu Minglang, who takes the flask and politely thanks him, saying this assistance gives them a much better shot at taking down Kuei Lang Shen. Thung Trang feels a heavy weight sliding right off his shoulders. He sighs, expressing hope that this will work out and finally clear Ingo Thun of all suspicion. Zhu Minglang looks at the flask, realizing that deep down, the man still desperately hopes the killer is actually someone else. But that does not really matter anymore, because having secured absolutely everything they came for, he heads outside to meet Mert Dung and Tin Huar. He tells them they secured the Jade Lantern and Toxic Blood, solving the secrets of Van Chi Long Quok. Now it is time to grab Huang Kan and Min Kui so they can head out. Meanwhile, red banners and sharp spears rise high over Tik Thui Thine. Right here is where the tension spikes. Look at this crowd, looking ready to start an absolute brawl. Zhu Minglang calmly looks over at Thien Quan, noting that the enemy is finally arriving. Surprised by his chill attitude, the old man asks if he is not worried about being completely outnumbered. Maintaining his relaxed vibe, Zhu Minglang casually answers that his father likely disguised the sword sect elites and Trukmon masters as regular townspeople, hiding them all over Tik Thui Thine. Thien Quan is totally taken aback, realizing his son somehow read his mind and got it perfectly right. He asks if Zhu Minglang ever doubted whether Trukmon actually had the power to pull in such legendary figures. Raising one finger, he just smirks without a single doubt in his mind. Honestly, their faction is just way stronger than royalty. Even if his dad suddenly pulled 5 god-tier weapons out of nowhere today, he would not be shocked. Thien Quan raises an eyebrow, wondering how on earth his son knows absolutely everything. He chuckles, clasping his hands together while jokingly complaining that his son is completely ruining his dramatic reveal. But today, he promises to drop a secret that will actually leave him speechless. He asks if Zhu Minglang knows his proudest creation of all time, making the boy guess if it is those 5 weapons. Shaking his head, Thien Quan reveals that his proudest work is actually Zhu Minglang's Dragon Spirit Sword, leaving the boy totally shocked. The father explains how he forged it back in the sword forest, utilizing intense sunlight as his furnace and raw sword essence as materials to birth that spirit weapon. It was supposed to be just like his other creations, carrying his own personal soul imprint to serve him alone. But once that weapon tasted Zhu Minglang's blood, it birthed a unique consciousness that only ever bonded with his son. He originally wanted the blade to stay by his side as a reminder of his son, but the stubborn sword insisted on waiting in the forest, somehow more convinced that Zhu Minglang was still alive than his own father was. Over the years, it evolved into a blade holding a truly terrifying amount of power. Even Thien Quan never expected the weapon to eventually transform into a dragon, almost as if it knew all along that Zhu Minglang would become a Dragon Tamer. Hearing the incredible truth, Zhu Minglang quietly processes this massive revelation, realizing he had always assumed his loyal partner, Mạc Tà, was just a product of pure nature. But instead, it was actually a physical manifestation of his father's deepest love. No wonder the old man poured so much of his soul into it, making it his masterwork. Zhu Minglang frowned slightly, thinking that without this pre-battle talk, he might have gone his entire life without ever learning the true origin of Mạc Tà, making him pray with all his heart that his father safely survives this coming trial. Shifting his tone, he gives Thien Quan a very serious warning. He warns him to make this an extremely fast clash and retreat immediately once they secure the upper hand. He warns him not to deploy Trukmon's Long Suyen armor, fearing Kuei Lang Shen will unleash the ice void bones of Van Chi Long Quok against them. Hearing the warning, the father stares at him with suspicion, realizing the boy truly does know something. Get ready because this massive, world-shaking clash starts right now. Thien Quan orders a savage charge as Zhu Minglang immediately summons Bai Qi straight into the fight. He orders Bai Qi to watch over the Trukmon and Sword Sect warriors, ready to unleash its dragon breath to shield them the moment the ice void bones drop. Spreading its massive wings, the beast dives straight into the raging war zone, whipping up a powerful protective aura across the battlefield. And just as expected, Tuk Lang emerges alongside his deadly forces, accompanied by the majestic arrival of the legendary dragon of Van Chi. He sits perched on his throne, silently watching everything. Spotting him, Li Xinghua calls out to Zhu Minglang. "Young master, the sparrow wolf god is here," she warns, and Zhu Minglang simply nods. "I see him." Zhu Minglang studies his posture, realizing his power has dropped quite a bit, likely because they took the jade seal first. The sparrow wolf god looks weaker, but Zhu Minglang spots a strange new ring shining on his finger. Raising his ring-bearing hand, he signals the cloud dragon and laughs, boasting that such exquisite sacrifices are way beyond his expectations, so he will take them all. The massive beast roars, unleashing a deadly wave of frost against Tianquan's defending army. But Zhu Minglang was ready, having already stationed Bai Qi and the other dragons in ambush to fight back. Together, they conjure a massive shield, successfully blocking the cloud dragon's frost attack. Seizing the moment to order a safe retreat, Tianquan feels a wave of relief, realizing they would have suffered massive losses if Zhu Minglang had not warned him beforehand. Suddenly, the charging enemy forces are completely frozen solid in thick ice, left entirely paralyzed and unable to take another step. Watching this unfold, Zhao Cheng gasps in absolute shock, while Zhu Minglang channels his power and looks at him with a mocking stare. Congratulations, Prince Zhao Cheng. You became the beastly accomplice of an evil god who slaughtered the sacred grief dragon. Enjoy carrying your terrible, eternal infamy. You drag the capital straight to hell, seeing it with your own eyes, and the broken prince collapses to his knees. What is the point of saying this now? He weeps. I have failed our guardian dragon and my ancestors. Zhu Minglang demands to know how the prince handed control of the grief dragon over to the sparrow wolf god. Knowing it is too late to fix his mistake, Zhao Cheng confesses that it was the dragon ring. He used it to command the grief dragon, but handed it over to the sparrow wolf god last night. Looking up at the massive dragon, Zhu Minglang mutters that he understands. Looking at the beast, Zhu Minglang plans his next move, realizing he never saw that ring in his visions. The sparrow wolf god must have hidden it after using the dragon, meaning his only choice now is to steal it. Suddenly, Tianquan approaches, breaking his train of thought, and cheerfully announces that he is finally back. Zhu Minglang asks how his father is doing, and the older man proudly places a hand on his chest. Thanks to your warning, the Zhu sect suffered almost no losses, but to kill a snake we must strike its head. I must wager our family's lives to fight the sparrow wolf god. Hearing this, Zhu Minglang immediately holds out his hand to stop him, telling him to stay back because his dragons cannot handle this foe. Zhu Minglang summons Mo Xie to his hand. Radiating a powerful aura, his face filled with sheer determination, he steps forward and tells his father to let him handle this. Raising Mo Xie to challenge the sparrow wolf god, Zhu Minglang swings the powerful blade forward with immense force. Their combined energies erupt into a furious storm of flames, launching a massive blazing strike against the powering-up cloud dragon. The sparrow wolf god smiles slyly, recognizing the blood jade sword and realizing exactly who Zhu Minglang is. He remembers the old enemy on Lingshan Island who once severed his arm. Boldly admitting it, Zhu Minglang charges right at him and declares that their fateful rematch was bound to happen, so let's settle it. Let's see which of them actually wins this. Shrouded in a blazing aura of ultimate flames from Mo Xie, Zhu Minglang reaches his peak power and points his weapon straight at his foe. Witnessing this terrifying strength, the jealous god screams in absolute fury, repeatedly shouting that such power belongs to him alone. Zhu Minglang just responds with a sharp stare, threatening that the god can have the sword only after it drives straight through his head. The sparrow wolf god dissolves into dark energy and erupts from the ground, leaving Zhu Minglang shocked. The dark force surges straight at him, but Zhu Minglang agilely dodges the strike. Instantly regaining his footing, he counters with a powerful slash, unleashing a massive, furious wave of fire straight at his enemy. Annoyed that his attack failed, the god snaps back to his normal form and immediately summons a giant serpent to swallow Zhu Minglang whole. Leaping back, Zhu Minglang screams to summon his beast, ordering his Tiansha dragon to appear. Instantly, a massive vortex swirls in the dark sky, immediately catching the giant serpent's attention. Charging down from the vortex, the mighty Tiansha dragon swiftly grabs the giant serpent in its claws, making the beast howl in absolute pain. However, the trapped serpent suddenly shifts its shape, slipping away from the dragon's grasp. It transforms into a demonic black wolf, stepping out of the bushes with a glowing crest on its forehead. The beast roars and charges with terrifying speed, crackling with lightning as both Zhu Minglang and his dragon freeze in surprise. Standing tall, Kuei Shen arrogantly looks down on him, manipulating multiple elements from raging storms to wild sand and crackling lightning. He sneers. Do you really think this is enough to defeat me? He raises his hand to gather the glowing essence of a cosmic star. The nearby starlight instantly turns pitch black as Kuei Shen drains its core, absorbing the raw essence of other planets to summon a truly terrifying dark power. Complete transformation. His face turns into a pitch black abyss. With a wicked smile, he mutters "Serious star," and honestly, it is absolutely terrifying. Watching this, a cold sweat breaks across Zhu Minglang's face as he realizes the sheer scale of cosmic power. Roaring alongside the wind, the bloodthirsty Kuei Shen strikes to finish him off. He screams, "Die!" The wind and steel energy merge into a massive claw, slamming Zhu Minglang and Tiansha Long to the ground. A brutal crash. The devastating impact shatters the solid stone all around them. Swooping down, Bai Qi signals, "Get out of the way!" As a badly wounded Zhu Minglang coughs up blood, his eyes turning completely lifeless. Tiansha Long slams his colossal foot down, creating a protective barrier between Zhu Minglang and Kuelang Shen. Backing away, Zhu Minglang signals his beast to hide, commanding, "Tiansha Long, hide yourself so Bai Qi and I can initiate our joint attack once more." Roaring in agreement, Tiansha Long quickly retreats, while Zhu Minglang and Bai Qi rush ahead to strike the enemy. He unleashes a powerful strike, the sky-rending sword, Windfire Wheel. Unable to dodge, Kuelang Shen takes the hit directly on his arm, and this time, his wound refuses to heal up. Seeing this, Zhu Minglang is thrilled, realizing the power of his source blood is finally hitting its absolute limit. Yet Kuelang Shen raises his bleeding arm without a single trace of fear. He sneers, "How truly pathetic. You used all your strength just to scratch me," he mocks. "But a drop of this blood is enough to end your life." Then he fires a blast of source blood. Zhu Minglang barely blocks the strike with his sword, quickly calling out to Tiansha Long for help. The dragon charges to bite off his head. But Kuelang Shen reacts quickly, grumbling, "You lowly dragon. I will tear you into tiny pieces." Total chaos. Tiansha Long takes several heavy blows from his furious opponent. Refusing to back down, Tiansha Long gathers spiritual energy in his jaws to unleash an all-out blast that forces Kuelang Shen to brace himself. This buys Zhu Minglang just enough time to catch his breath and prepare his next move. Watch closely now, because he immediately vaults forward, executing a stunning high-impact sword strike that blasts the arrogant god completely. Slamming through a nearby rooftop, the enemy crashes into the rubble, but Zhu Minglang immediately raises his blade to deliver a devastating finisher, slashing straight down with his heaven-splitting technique. Direct hit. The ice sword stabs his gut, unleashing a massive shockwave of crimson energy that literally warps the air around them. Slammed to the ground, Kuelang Shen coughs up a stomach of blood and screams, "Bite! Bite them!" before standing back up in the dust like nothing happened. He laughs like a madman, dark energy swirling around his razor-sharp claws. With perfect timing, the terrifying demonic aura of Kuelang Shen knocks back nearby soldiers, draining their life force to feed his body. The poor soldiers instantly wither into dust as his severed arm slowly begins to regenerate. This is bad, Zhu Minglang realizes, grabbing his glowing necklace in panic as he remembers the ancient secrets of the prophetic realm. That regenerated arm now possesses a massive divine power capable of summoning deadly sandstorm crystals. He must find a way to stop him immediately, as this final option is his absolute last resort. Zhu Minglang provokes him, saying, "As expected, you only have that much skill. You barely won our last duel, and now that you cannot beat me, you resort to slaughtering innocent bystanders," he mocks, as Kuelang Shen proudly raises his arm. Kuelang Shen sneers, "Stop being so self-righteous. I am different now, and a lower realm bug like you can be crushed under my heel by the thousands. If I was not weakened by the void mist back then, you would already be dead." He lunges, grabbing Zhu Minglang by the throat and screaming, "You dare provoke me, now I will drain all your blood." As the boy struggles, Kuelang Shen continues in an arrogant voice, saying, "Kid, trying to fight a god? You are way too green." He chokes Zhu Minglang, but something suddenly shatters on the boy's neck. Zhu Minglang smirks contemptuously, saying, "You are still exactly like before, unbelievably stupid." A strange gas erupts from the broken vial, draining his power as Kuelang Shen gasps in shock. "What did you do? What on earth did you do?" He calmly holds the broken vial, mocking, "You are supposed to be a god, but you turned into a pathetic monster, sheer trash." His strength vanishes. Stripped of power, the furious Kuelang Shen screams, "Give me the god blood, or I will drag you all to the grave with me. Every last one of you from Truck Gate, Hoangdu, and Taiji Pavilion, die for me." He roars, unleashing a massive wave of dark, suffocating energy. Kuelang Shen stares with hollow eyes, asking if he can survive his mad dust calamity. "Can you really do it?" Sensing the danger, Zhu Minglang breaks into a cold sweat, realizing that devastating sandstorm crystal is coming back. Kuelang Shen raises the glowing sandstorm crystal with one hand, grinning triumphantly. "Back then, you risked your life to cut off my arm just to save those pathetic, worthless human pests. Today, I will drag every living soul in Dinkuk down to hell with me, unless you hand over that divine blood right now." But showing zero fear, Zhu Minglang asks if this is a threat. Reaching out, he says, "I thought sealing your origin blood would stop your power. That was completely my mistake. I never once expected the Dragon Gates to be your true escape route." Summoning his sword with a cold smirk, he does not even give Kuelang Shen a chance to speak. With one sharp, decisive swing, Zhu Minglang strikes him right in his vital point. He says, "If my mind is at a mortal level, then yours belongs to an insect." Stepping back, Zhu Minglang continues his righteous lecture, telling this trash that real morals take a lifetime to learn. Clutching his painful wound in silence, Kuei-Langshen watches as Zhu Minglang ignites his blazing fire, coldly whispering, "Too bad your time is up in this life." Seeing his imminent demise, the god grits his teeth, snarling, "You actually dare to execute a divine star?" Hearing those words,